Journal, you can only do like 3 articles before. Like they're the worst.
I'm not paying to.
I'm not paying to read something. I can read something somewhere else.
Anywhere else.
Like
I think we're beyond that model at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that they're all struggling. Ugh. Like it sucks now that like legitimate news sites are using like clickbait headlines.
Yeah.
Like
that's the world we live in.
Like
now.
I've like somebody posted this. There's like this Entertainment Weekly headline where it was like, these characters are not in the new Dark Tower, and everyone's like, bleh. But I'm like, they're not in it because it's the first book, and they're not in the first book. Like, but if you read that headline, it's like they're out of the and like and then you read and then in the article, if you read it, it's like, no, they're not out of the, like they even say in the thing. So I'm like, this is where we're at now. Like,
yeah,
I hate that. I'm like, I just got tricked. And like, it's not even like a clickbait site. This is like a legitimate news site.
Not anymore.
But they got to do everything. Well, because that's how they make that's the only way they're making money. They're not selling magazines. They're not selling newspapers. No. They're not selling anything. You know when they
sell magazines? When we go on the airplane. That's when I buy Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, Entertainment Weekly.
I feel like if I don't buy an Entertainment Weekly, that's what the plane will crash. Yeah, like I have to.
You have to do that.
I have to.
I used to buy Mad Magazine also, but that's
I buy a soda and I buy an Entertainment Weekly, and maybe if I'm feeling a little crazy because the airport snacks are always so expensive, maybe I'll get like a candy or something.
Yeah,
just something
to prepare there.
Well, now lately I've been buying it because bring it on the plane since they charge for, especially Spirit, everything.
Yeah. Although to me, if you can like work around it, it's not that bad.
No, I'm definitely not that bad. I'm still debating on what I'm gonna do if I like fly into Orlando. I don't know if I can handle all the way to Orlando.
You just have to
if I get like noise canceling headphones.
I just can't believe that it's a thing now that people play music out
loud. It's not even. I talked about this last week with Andrew. It's not even just relegated to airplanes now. The other day, I was at I hadn't been to JoJo's Gorilla Dog in a long time, so I went down there. There was a girl sitting at a table next to me watching a show, like with the sound like going, and then somewhere else. I'm like, what? I wanted to do a George Costanza, like, living in society here. There's rules. Like,
yeah,
I wanted to do something that I'm like, oh, like, what do I do? Like, what do I do? Like, I'm like, do I say something? And then, like, if I say something, then she gonna get? I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with fighting with this person at JoJo's Gorilla Dog. But I also, what are you doing?
I can't believe that we live in a society now where that is at least partially accepted. People just do it.
I'm glad that actually, like, you know, like we thought it was crazy that that a fight broke out because someone had their boombox on. I'm surprised that more fights have. They should be punched.
Like, okay, I mean, at least in a restaurant you could leave. On an airplane, you're stuck.
Yeah, but even in why is that okay? It's like one of those things where like it's like the same thing with people talking to movie theaters. Part of me want to go one of these days. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna rent or buy, rent maybe, like a nice suit. And I'm going to have like a camera crew, and I'm just going to go up to people. I'm going to go up to talking people in movie theaters. I'm going to go up to those, just people being dicks. And just be like, what is going on? What are you doing right now? Yeah. And why do you think this is okay?
Why did you buy a ticket to see this movie and then talk through it?
Like, holy crap. Like, don't even get me started on the phones. It seems like every time I go to the movies, it's like, although I didn't have any incidents. It's Secret Life of Pets of all day. I think it's with kid movies. It's just like people.
You do have chatting kids.
It's fine. Yeah, but it was fine. I went to ArcLight, and ArcLight is like. I think that's why it's. I don't know. I'm almost fine with paying $15 if it means there's going to be, because an usher, he comes in and like he's there, and each theater has their, and like they're there, and like people don't. And I didn't see a phone. I got nothing. Whereas. Even at the freaking Harkins, some dude, why do you think it's okay to just some guy, like his phone was ringing and he sat there and looked at it, and I'm like, is he gonna he's like, are you gonna answer it? What are you doing? And I go getting lights. And he's just sitting there looking at it, and then he pulls it out again and starts, and then he's like, oh, better check my Facebook while I have my phone out. I'm like, there's a movie on right now.
Why Facebook? Or if you have to get something, step out of the theater.
And then, like, that woman during Civil War, when she just had her phone and her kid at least said, "Mom."
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, because she was like, I don't want to be here, so I'm just going to be on my phone. I'm like, what?
What about everybody else? I feel, though, like Harkins is better than others.
They are, but it's still, like, I think it's just the local flavor.
But part of, I think, with Harkins, because the seats are comfy, at least
People
get,
get,
like, take a nap or something if they don't care about it.
Yeah, but still, the phones is just nuts. And so we need Alamo Drafthouse. Like, we need because they are like
super strict.
They will kick you out. They will ban you from the theater. Like, they will just like, and like as it should be.
Yeah.
But I'm worried that this is seeped into other. Now that this is like, I'm starting to see like
out in public
again. Like, and then like the plane thing was just nuts because you experienced it too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because after you talked about it, I'm like, that's crazy. And then I'm like, wait, it's happening. Guys just like playing,
or like watching like the kids.
Like, well, and then like a lady was like having a super loud phone conversation where we could all hear all the like yeah.
Well, also, like, how are you on a phone on a plane? Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. Like, are you allowed to do that? I don't know.
You're not.
Like what? But she's talking so. Oh, hi, Mom. Yeah. Oh, Dave's being a real jerk this week. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, now we know all of your dirty laundry. I don't know. It's just crazy.
It's crazy.
Even on the backpack, we were out in the middle of nowhere. We were literally 10 miles from civilization, and this dude comes down the trail, and he's got like a speaker system set up in his backpack, and he's like thumping like I don't know what it was, like some loud music, and I'm like, "Are you serious right now? Like we're in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around. It's supposed to be quiet." No, couldn't go that long without being obnoxious to someone else. Unbelievable.
I don't know.
If what we did isn't sitting on the porch just now and sitting on the porch in our rocking chairs complaining about society today, I'm pretty sure
But we're right.
We're right. But we're also officially old men at this point.
Well, Double Dare is turning 30 years old.
Right. And the kids these days are idiots.
It's not the kids. It's not just the kid. This was a grown-ass woman.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, on the airplane.
And not to mention, she's watching like Game of Thrones, and I'm like, there are kids in here.
Well, I just don't understand. The egocentrism is what
I think it's just we're all living in our own little bubbles,
not aware that we're affecting the people around us.
I don't know. The movie thing is disturbing because, like I said, I love the movies, love it so much, and like, but it's just every time, like 9 times out of 10, it's something, and I'm just like,
See, we went to a few in the last.
I had really good luck. These 3, there was that one dude that like. Again, pulled out his phone, looked to see, and then he didn't immediately put it away. And I'm like,
no, that's like an instant. Like, okay, I realize they didn't remind you a million times, but I'll give you one time of oops, I forgot to turn my ringer off. If you're fast about it, that's it. Like, because people make mistakes.
Checking
I've
Facebook
done stuff like that before.
In the middle of the thing, like I will destroy you.
But they give you plenty of opportunity to not remember that.
Yes,
I mean to remember that.
No, it has 30 preloaded games. I just said it doesn't play cartridges. And Veronica was like, no. And I was like, you can buy Nintendo. And then she's like, let's do it. So then she said, John Steele, make this happen. So I'm like, I just gave John a project. I'm sorry.
It's not that big of a project, though.
Well, because John said he bought her one of those Retron, like not the Retron. Because I told him, like, if you're gonna go like the emulated one route, the Retron, those are the only ones I know of that like people don't complain about.
Yeah.
Because they got one of the cheapy ones, and like from what I heard, those are like very hit or miss. They don't even like half the time they don't play the games.
Right.
Like, the one I got Justin apparently is really good, but they stopped making it.
I still want the portable Retron one.
Yeah, the Super Nintendo one.
I read I play Super Nintendo and NES.
AJ Styles
Retron Duo.
Yeah, it's something. AJ Styles has one that he got in Japan that's like that, but even like he's got some awesome ones. He has one like he was showing them up. There's this YouTube show I've been watching a lot of called Up Up Down Down. It's like wrestlers talking about video games, and they're totally out of character, which makes it like awesome on so many levels. but he was showing off all the stuff. He's like, here's one of the reasons why I wrestled in Japan was because I'm a video game nerd and like you can get everything there. So he had the one you're talking about, which does look awesome.
Right.
But he had one that like it played every portable thing you could think of. He's like, it played like Neo Geo Pocket, and like it played like Lynx. It played everything, and it was a portable, but it played all the portables. And he had the fabled Turbo Express, which plays TurboGrafx cards. Like the card, like it. That was one of the few ones that they didn't make a portable game line. You just played the games. And he had the authorized portable Sega one that played Genesis games, but it only came out in Japan. He had a bunch of Japanese stuff that was crazy. He even said that he had he at one point he had a Satellaview, but he couldn't because they made like some like ways to like actually use it, but he couldn't figure it out, so he sold it. But he's like, because at one point he's just like, I'm just gonna buy all this because like there are those shops in Japan that just have everything. And
well, I just think it'd be super cool to have a portable one where I could take the cartridges I have and play them around.
Yeah,
like.
And that's why he got it, because he would play it because he's on the bus most of the time.
Right.
So it's like the ultimate thing. So he has a bunch of crazy portables. And because the Genesis one is crazy because it's like a pocket, it's like a portable TV and it like flips open.
Right.
And you can even has controller ports. So it's like a dual, a hybrid, because it has a built-in thing, plus it has controller ports. It's like a total thing.
A lot of fun stuff. I want the new Nintendo one, just nothing else, so that I can use those controllers for my classic games. This is how nerdy I am. I'm like rehearsing like what I'm gonna talk to the wrestlers about. Because I always get so nervous around the wrestlers. What if you remember like the wrong thing? Finn Balor was perfect last year because I talked to him about Lego. Right. Kevin Owens was perfect because I was wearing a shirt. Right. But this year, like there's two different signings. I'm gonna go to both. Okay. And the first one is The New Day, and Xavier Woods is way into video games, so I'm trying to think about what video games. And I'll probably talk to all three of them at once about all that stuff. Okay. But AJ Styles, there's two different roads I can go. Okay. One is video games, which is good. Two, he's extremely into and knowledgeable of like Christian rap. Interesting. That's random. Well, he's from Georgia. He's a super. Is he gonna go on the DC Talk cruise? Well, I found an article. It was like from one of those like zines, and they interviewed him and like and it wasn't just like mainstream. It was mostly non-mainstream stuff. But I think it's because he's from the South. I mean, like there's no West Coast, like no LA Symphony, Brainwash Projects, Pigeon John. Okay. Because I'm like, he has to know about that stuff. What about Soul Junk? Like, I wonder if I could I'm like, do you have because he even mentioned like Toby Mac, and so I'm like, he says he's like, I know it all. So I'm like, he has to know that LMI is not Toby Mac's song. So maybe I could talk to him like, that'd be a good one to talk about. What about you got Native Son. Yeah, which is Mark Solomon from like Stavesacre and stuff. He did a rap one about I'm trying to think of other. You got T-Bone. Ooh, T-Bone. That's a big one. Idol King though, dude, because they're from Georgia. I need to get he's from Georgia. I think maybe Georgia, he knows or something, or maybe Alabama. I could use your knowledge because they have some really interesting stuff. They're really. I don't have a lot of rap stuff, but he had a whole article. Let me see if I can find it. I liked their album because they had this one. This is like a weird little sub collection I had, but I would look for CDs that had listen to this. So it's this website, Rapzilla.com, and he says he can school anyone on Christian hip hop. What is he like? Who else does he mention? Let me see. Where's his list? He had a list. Oh, so it talks about Grits. So of course Grits. Okay. But I'm like, everybody knows about Grits. Yeah. Okay. Little Rascal, FTF. Have you heard about any of these guys? LG Wise. I've heard that those are a little later. So this is Grapetree. Yeah. So he got into it in the late 90s. Okay. So I mean the ones I was saying was a little earlier, but maybe. He said he can school anyone so it's almost like maybe I could be I don't know. What did we gotta write them down when we go there. Look up Idol King. I don't know if IDOLKING. Explosion 2000. That's the name of their album. That'll make sure you get the right thing. Or it's one of their albums. See, I think they're. Does it say like where they're from? I'm pretty sure they're from the South.
These guys are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, this is 1997, you know.
This is on BET.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot, but I have a few like well curated ones.
This is pretty nerdy.
It's super nerdy.
Idol
SFC,
King.
that's what about Gospel Gangstas?
Oh,
they're West Coast.
yeah, but they were like dumb.
Oh, dude. But we saw them play at a show. Again, it was with Stave Saker, and then on the other end it was like.
Oh, here you did mention T-Bone.
T-Bone.
I didn't know. I thought you. Okay, still talking about grits. 116 crew, Trip Lee. Do you know Tadashi?
Again, I know the names, and these are all
Grape Tree. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, Grape Tree is the record label.
Oh, those guys remind me of Grape Tree, which is 15 to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
K2S.
Yeah. Oh, what about?
I think this one where he has a list. Where does he have a list? I think I saw a list.
I guess I mentioned a few. Yeah. What about? Oh, dude, I got a few.
Yeah, I'm so excited to meet AJ Styles. Like you don't even know.
All right, that's your in, man. I'll give you a little briefing.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Grits did his song.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was his TNA song.
Huh.
I don't know. I don't know who did his new song. I don't think. Yeah, I just thought it was pretty cool that because this is like a Christian rap zine.
Yeah,
basically. I'm glad that some of the zines like still live on in online form.
Yeah, we have a little bit of that. And it feels.
Do you remember? You know what I found?
What?
I found the Phantom Toll Booth archive.
Oh yeah.
There is like, so I went on a real deep dive when you were gone, and I'm like, Phil would be really proud of me right now. So first of all, Drive is on, so I was going through Spotify, and Spotify has like a related artist.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll just go I'll go to the real artist. So I was listening to Starflyer.
Right.
And then that led me down so after I'd listened to S, it's like listen to Slow like 20 times. I'm like, all right, let's mix it up a little bit. And so I started going down to like sounds like, and I started going down to some like random paths, and and then I'm starting to listen to some older stuff, like listening to like some Bleach and Poor Old Lou, and
nice.
And like really getting down.
Good stuff.
And then somehow and then Drive popped up on somebody's page. And so I'm like, wait, they're on here? And at first I thought it was just going to be Thrifty Mr. Kickstarter because that was their big one. But Hum is on there. And I haven't, you gave me a copy,
right,
and I have it in my car, but like I haven't listened to it in a while. And so I started listening to it. And then I remembered the trip I went on with Drive and Black Eyed Skiva. And then I found, so like the Black Eyed Skiva stuff is like the Model Engine stuff is easier to find than that's the weirdest, like, I was reading, then I was trying to figure out, so then I found some YouTube videos. No, it was like the only Black Eyed Skiva songs I could find were like on a MySpace page.
Okay.
Because there wasn't even like YouTube videos, and then because I was just like want to listen to some of that stuff again. It's so good.
Oh, so good.
And they were amazing, and they were really cool. Like I hung out with them for like a whole week, and then I where was all this going? Oh yeah,
more bands.
Someone on a super deep dive. So then I was looking up Black Eyed Skiva, and then but it got me to Black Eyed Skiva, and I was just digging through their history. Oh, Phantom Toll Booth. So then I'm like looking up, so I'm trying to find more about them, and then that led me to Phantom Toll Booth, and they have their whole archive up.
Oh yeah,
and then
everything on there.
Then you can just go through scroll through their interviews. So in the Black Eyed Skiva interview, he did say they thought that people said they didn't pronounce it correctly,
right?
And they thought it was just too confusing, and it was a 5-minute walk decision
because they didn't change labels or anything. It was under the same
they
label.
They like, I guess the first CD, like way before the flood, like did not sell. I don't think a lot. It sounds, from what I've talked to like Corey from Drive, like a lot of those early 5-minute walk, like there was a ton of like bomb after. Like I think 5 Iron was like their first.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason they didn't go under.
I mean, and like
the W's helped them out for like that one album.
And but yeah, like so, and but like so they were talking about that, and then it just, I don't know, it just made me think about all those old times and bands and shows.
Did they still update?
But then reading, it looks like they might still update some of it, but some parts of the site look like they haven't been touched since like the night. But it's just crazy reading like through some of the old interviews and album reviews and stuff, and like, well, because then I was reading like Starflyer album reviews from like all over the place. Like I found the first time like Pitchfork reviewed, and like this guy, you think he would have found like he was like finding like the Holy Grail, and like these guys, it was like, because like I think the first one they reviewed was like not even fashion focused. I think it was like Everybody Makes Mistakes,
or maybe even Old.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I think it is Old.
I feel
like
right. Old was that because that was like
that was kind of when they broke.
Breakout.
Yeah, but then just reading about old bands, and then I got into like listening to like, because I'm like, I haven't listened to some of like these like, I don't know, like some of these like screamo hardcore emo bands. Listen to old emo bands, and I was like, man,
it's good stuff.
Then, I don't know, I've just been listening to a lot of different music. But Black Eyed Skiba was they were so good.
They were really and
like live. Did you ever get to see them live?
Yeah.
They were so good.
When I worked at Planet Summit, they were the house band for a while, and then after they left, they played with Poor Old Lou at Knott's Berry Farm, and they actually did like, they played first and then Poor Old Lou, and then the last song they came up on stage and they did like a song together, like one song of each band's, like with all of them on stage together. It was awesome.
I saw Bleach like once.
I only saw, okay, this is funny.
They were really good.
I saw them one time. Janelle and I went to go see them, and it was in Anaheim at that place. It's the Grove, maybe?
Yeah?
I think.
That's a big...
It's like a real big one, right? And it's like round.
Yeah.
Okay. So we went there, and they played there, and we're like, this is great. And it turned out, it was free. We're like, oh, free show, sweet. And it turned out
like a big outreach.
It was like an outreach, like revival kind of thing. And they played 2 songs. And we had to sit through all the other garbage. And we got to see them play 2 songs, which was cool. But that was
like that Crucified show we went to.
It was like that, except that everyone was like sitting down, and it was like all formal, and it was weird.
It's weird.
And he did like a big sermon, and we're like, can we see the band, please? And then, but then like he interviewed the guys during it, like, so they were up on stage, and he was like talking to them. And
that's where I still have to ask Clark if he remembers that Spivvy's Drive show where there was a sermon in the middle, and like it was the worst thing I've ever experienced.
I'm sure they had quite a few of those, because they're always talking.
I remember we got bad stares because we like got up and went outside during it.
Well, and then like they also got a lot of hard time because they would play at churches.
Yeah,
they didn't like. They just sang like songs about girls and stuff, like whatever. And so
I remember we tried to get. I remember we wanted them to play at. We tried to get our school, like, because we went to a Christian school, and like, well, they wanted to like, have like a concert. So first we tried to get them to book Drive, and they said no, it was too loud. I'm like, well, the Spivvies aren't as loud as Drive, and they're like, well, they're not spiritual. Because Drive was spiritual enough for them, even though they weren't really. Right. But like Spivvies, they like, I remember even like, because the ASB director really liked him, but then like when he took him to like, he's like, I got to get the headmaster's approval. And I was like, they're not the word. They don't mention God, and I was like, that's not what. That's not that.
Yep.
So that's how we could Spivvies could have played at our high school.
If only they did one. They actually, the only time they ever did like they did a couple Christmas songs.
Yeah.
That were, just by their nature. And then they did that one gospel song on the Jackson Rubio compilation. So that was like a way that people could be like, look at these. But that wasn't until neither of those were until later. And the Christmas one was not widely available recorded. So, because their Christmas on the Moon one wasn't,
You guys have been talking for 2 hours. We've basically done like 2 shows.
Basically. At least we've been running the thing lately.
Oh.
We should probably check the mic.
This is what happens when you go away for so long.
Gone away.
Check 1, 2.
Check 2, 3,
4,
5.
I'm surprised that AJ Styles. I mean, I guess I don't know. He didn't even mention. I figured somebody from Georgia would mention like John Rubin.
Oh yeah,
but he's pretty. He's like super mainstream, and I could see where if a self-professed like really in our probably would think like that's too. But then like his friends are grits. That's pretty main.
Yeah,
but they're
but
like,
not as much though.
But I mean. It depends on what your thought, because like I don't know. I've played John Rubin for like people that are like in seriously into hip hop, and it's like people have liked him. It's like, but because some of his stuff, but then like but like the LA Symphony, like Pigeon John, like he's been on like he's been on like he's been on like mainstream rap albums and stuff. Like
I think John Rubin hit a level of mainstream popularity that Grits never did.
Yeah,
in a way.
Well, also maybe he thought Rubin too goofy because he's kind of goofy.
He's like silly.
I just remember that song was really big. That first year when I was working at Adrian. That Rubin, what
was that guy that came to Biola? What was his name?
When?
Soup the Chemist. Do you remember him?
No.
It's S-U-P, but he pronounced it soup.
I remember Shark to the E.
Shark to the E. Oh, what about Homestyle?
Homestyle.
I doubt he heard them.
No. I don't know what Gio's doing these days.
Didn't we bump into him somewhere?
We bumped into him somewhere. Like, that was like still quite a few years ago.
But I remember.
Where was that?
I don't know.
Was that Disneyland?
Maybe.
I kind of feel like I have vague recollections of like interventions.
Could have been.
I don't know. Because I was there.
Maybe it was at a show.
Maybe was it at a show? I don't know.
I don't know, but I remember we're like, hey. And I think we just talked for a second, and then it was like.
I remember he was one of the first people to give BrendoMan All-Stars legitimate props. And I was like, whoa. Right.
And even though I'm not like big into rap, I always enjoyed
And I remember talking to him. Music. And he was also, they played music. But he was asking, I remember Gio asked me about making beats, and I was like, whoa, like a rap guy is asking me about, in some other world, what if I was like Gio's producer or something?
You're the new Kanye, Brenier. Brenier. Oh, speaking of making beats, I've been messing around with Rhythmic Ultimate. That's the one I downloaded. Oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, got some good stuff.
What's going on with the BMOS EP?
This is going to be it. This is going to be the last bit I need.
I thought we were done.
Well, I was working on one last song. All right. Now I got it.
Got it. Got it. What's going on with the live track?
I'll put that up too.
No, you don't.
I've been gone.
Don't put it up. No, you have to.
I have to.
Oh, gosh. I was listening to our demo tracks, and I was like,
oh, come on. Wait, which one?
We recorded those demos. I have them.
Wait, from when?
From when we were practicing.
Oh, that. Yeah. I think we did better when we played it live, though.
We definitely did. Yeah. We hope we did.
Yeah, that was just practice. That's right. Practice. All right.
Although, I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of, like, I've been feeling better about us because I've been listening to a lot of punk rock lately because I've been reading my Touch and Go zine.
Oh yeah.
And I've been listening to a lot of because I told you about that band Suicide, which is like they were like post punk, but like it's just two dudes, very like honestly like if I told like one band that we are like that's it. And like they were pretty, and I watched some live videos, and I'm like, it is like it's like what we were doing, and I'm like, okay, like if they can get away, if they're considered monumentally groundbreaking and like amazing, and like Bruce Springsteen is like all into them.
There you go.
And I'm like, and I mean, I guess like I said, like legitimate musicians did have good things to say about us.
That's right.
John Sonnenberg liked our songs.
Yep.
And he's a musical genius.
Real.
All right. Although, would you have like played live if like Ronnie Martin was there? Would you have been able to like do that?
Maybe.
Have you ever performed when Ronnie was there?
No. I don't think so.
Or like Irani. Or
Jason.
Like, have you ever? Well, I mean, like you were stressing out because Josh was like watching you play.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. Well, and I mean, even when we did Springfest, there was a lot of like people that were there. That was
that's true. That's like
but whatever.
Pulled it off. Pulled it off.
Actually, I have played in front of Ronnie and Jason with the Spivvies.
Yeah,
but not like.
You probably got a kick out of that.
Yeah, I mean, because you're
a Spivvy.
I didn't like write those songs or anything.
Yeah,
it's different.
It is. It's weird when you're just putting yourself out there.
Yeah, when you're playing someone else's stuff, it's not that bad.
You can't explain it until you just until you do it, and so I always freak out. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Oh wait, timer. Crap.
Timer. Hey, Steve's in the chat. What's up?
Steve's in the chat.
Oh, speaking of that, so I brought while you're getting the timer up, I brought my guitar on the trip.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I saw that. How did you? Would you?
Well, I've for years I've always brought it. Well, not always.
Do you carry it?
Yeah, I just carry it like a guitar strap, like with my guitar strap. I use, I can like rest my arms on it. I'm walking along or play it as I walk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 60 miles. But so for one, it's just fun to like goof around. But I also was working on stuff because I haven't forgotten that I said we were gonna do like an open mic valets thing.
Yeah.
So I think I know what we're gonna do. I got like a good cover, so I want to do like one valet song and then a cover. I think that'd be like a good.
What are you gonna cover?
That I don't know like what the title is. It's "Then He Kissed Me," the one like the opening song from
Adventures in Babysitting.
Adventures in Babysitting. Yeah. I got like a really cool cover. I worked on it like the whole time, like for Janelle to sing. I think it's really good.
Really great.
Oh, dude, it's really good. That.
Is that the Ronettes? I think that is the Ronettes.
Might be. Anyway, I think I got a cool little cover for that. So
yeah, then after the Beach Boys concert, I was like all things Beach Boys, and of course, Brian Wilson. He's still completely obsessed with Phil Spector,
right?
And like, my goodness, like Phil Spector, like now I get it, like why it was such because like you're always just like that's just some weird creepy old dude that like killed somebody, but that dude, he almost makes Brian Wilson look like a completely sane artist from an artist standpoint. Like
right.
Phil Spector is like on a whole other. So I got really into that, and I was like, oh, no wonder Brian Wilson is obsessed with this guy. And then I think about that scene,
and
like that, and then reading because then there's this I found like all these Brian Wilson interviews and stuff, and then like he talks about it even more, and he's like, it was both the worst, it was like the best and worst moment of my life, and but like. And then just like, I mean, that's the reason why I got the Wrecking Crew. And he's just obsessed with the Ronettes. And then I like started following, because like Ronnie Spector still like tours around and followed her. Like she still plays shows. And she still sounds amazing. But yeah, it's just crazy. The Ronettes. And then all those other like girl groups in the 60s and 70s. I don't know. I'm starting to think like, I mean, I love all music, but like, there's just something about that sound.
There is.
Like that sound is like crazy. And then like, again, I've been listening to Pet Sounds like over and over and over and over again, and Smile and all this stuff. And like, just, there's something about it. Like it's just freaking genius. And we'll talk about it. Jeez, we're doing the show.
Right.
It's 10 o'clock.
Ready?
Should be in bed. Did I start? No. Wait, here, I'll just start recording and then start the timer. Hello and welcome to another episode of Radio BrendoMan. I'm Brendan Creecy.
And I'm Phil Vecchio.
You're finally back.
I'm back.
You survived the trail?
Yep. 60 miles worth.
60 miles.
That's what we wound up making.
You didn't quite make the full 90.
We were going for 90. We got 60. That's pretty good.
That's still nuts.
For a group of larger gentlemen, that's pretty good.
It's a lot of miles.
Yeah, it's a lot. And
now,
this is not like flat miles. This is a going over
and
passes.
Hey, and guess what you get to do next week? You get to walk like 12 miles a day at Comic-Con.
The difference is we gained 10,000 feet in altitude through that.
Oh, yeah. That's like some serious
Comic-Con,
terrain.
it's all flat.
Yeah.
Or escalators.
Yeah.
So
because I came to a conclusion after So last weekend I went to Disneyland with Brian, aka Gringo.
That's right.
As people listen to the show, he's been on the show. He's one of the OG.
That's right, one of the original co-hosts.
BrendoMan.com. He was very hard on himself. He's like the old stuff. It's terrible. I'm terrible. We're so serious. And
different
he's
time.
like, but he's like, you guys great. You like I don't have to like. He's like, you guys do a great job. It was very I don't know. But Brian was very hard on himself. But I don't agree. I think it was great. And he's fun. And he's fun to have on the show.
Cutting edge of podcasting.
It's true.
Like,
we didn't even know what the heck
there
we
was
were
no standard
doing.
Set.
So going to Disney, and I stayed at the Ramada Main Gate North, which is. Have you ever stayed there?
No.
It's just past Ball,
right,
so it's like north of. And I walked to Disneyland, and I mean it's not that bad, but after a long day at Disneyland, that part was like
long part.
So I'm thinking about and even in the morning, like you walk, and that it's like it's not even. I think it might be a mile, if that. It took me like 20 minutes.
Okay, could be.
But there's like a few stoplights and like but it was a pretty nice hotel, and I like even at because it was like on a weekend, and I got it for like $80, which cool. On a weekend
that's not bad at all.
I had here's where again the lesson. Here's my word of wisdom on Hotwire. If you see a deal pop up, like when you're doing that like random search, take it. Don't think it's gonna be there when you get back. Because the first time I did it, because I did it on Wednesday. This is like the Wednesday, Tuesday before. I'm like, the first time, I'm like, am I gonna do a hotel room? Then I'm like, I don't want to get up here at the crack of dawn to get to Disneyland and have to find parking and all that disaster. So I want to get a hotel room. And then since I was gonna go up in LA on Sunday for Brian Wilson, I'm like, well, I might as well just stay Saturday night because then I don't want to drive all the way back to Yucaipa Saturday night only to turn around and go back to LA. So I'm like, all right. I have the money. I'm going to do it. It's the end of the summer. My summer's over. Summer of Brendo.
Yeah.
Back to work.
So Comic-Con.
Yeah. So I did it, but the initial one that I found when I first looked, it was near the convention center. So it's a bit of a hike up to Disneyland.
Yeah.
But it would have been worth it because I had found one right by the convention center, 2.5 stars. I'm pretty sure it was that extended stay right down there.
Yeah.
$58.
Good
Should have done it. But 80 was still good. Especially for peak time, July weekend.
What was the star rating there?
It was 2.5.
2.5.
Which I would rate. I think it was fine. Plus they had continental breakfast with waffles.
Oh.
So like it was like in between continental and full breakfast because they had the hot waffles.
That's breakfast.
Yeah, and they had donuts and juice. So I mean, it was fine, and the rooms were really good, and the TV selection it had a lot of channels and a nice shower. So I think it was a 3-star. I mean, it wasn't anything fancy. It was a Ramada.
Yeah, but I mean you can have a solid. It doesn't have to be fancy. And in fact, if you go too fancy, then you don't get the breakfast stuff.
Yeah.
Well, for whatever reason,
then they know you're like rich and you don't need free breakfast. You don't want that free breakfast.
Ugh.
So it was really good, and it was good last second. But we'll talk more about that. So we'll talk more about the actual Disneyland trip in a bit. But what I was gonna say is, after walking, I'm like, we're staying like a bit out this year from Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But it's thanks like Andrew Lindy's hooked us up.
Hey, you guys got a sweet deal there.
And so it's worth it. But I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be because my initial plan was in the morning I would walk halfway, stop and eat breakfast somewhere because we don't have free breakfast. But I mean, it's totally free hotel.
Right.
So I'm fine with that.
Buy breakfast. Yeah.
You can buy it. So I'm like, I would go to like Broken Yoke or somewhere and then walk the other half. But that's still a lot of miles to walk before I'm even doing my main walking for the day. So I'm like, I think it's worth the $7 Uber.
Hey, Steve Espinoza.
Oh, at the Renaissance.
Staying at the place for Comic-Con.
It's the actual hotel.
Nice.
Fancy. There you go.
Cool.
Doing it up.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I'm super excited.
I haven't decided. I guess we're going to stay out there.
Why not?
Might as well.
I mean, it's unless you want. I mean, do you really want to drive back and forth? I mean, it's not that long of a drive.
Could, but probably.
I'm not going to do it.
Just stay
it's
out
a nice
there.
little mini bay.
Yeah.
Plus, it's Palm Springs in August.
I mean, cheap.
like most of the hotels, like there's plenty of $50, $60
Yeah.
hotel rooms, like nice ones.
Might as well.
And 2 nights. Drive up Friday, drive home Sunday.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, because we got school.
Yeah, I gotta work, school. So yeah. So anyways, you.
Yeah, well, I just got back from the backpack a couple days ago now.
Epic adventure.
I still haven't gotten my brain back. I don't know what day it is. I swear to you right now, I don't know what day of the week it is.
You don't know.
I think. Well, okay.
It's Thursday.
I know that we're going to see Ghostbusters tomorrow, so it's got to be. But I didn't really think about it. But we went on this backpack, 60 miles. It was great. It was really, really good. So a couple quick stories about it. This kind of fits under Fat Alert as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we learned some things because the trail that we went on is a John Muir trail, but a lot of places it overlaps with the Pacific Crest Trail. People might not know that's the one that starts in Canada or starts in Mexico and ends in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And people take like 6 months out of the year and they start there and they hike all the way up. Like it takes a long time. Or some people do it less, So what you have is a lot of these through hikers, they call them, these guys that have been out there, for 3 months and they're like skinny as a rail.
Did you like run into these guys?
Oh no, like the place that we started, because we started like right in the middle, is at this little way place. Did you watch A Walk in the Woods by any chance?
I haven't watched the movie, but I read the book.
You read the book. Okay, so it's one of those little like if you were anywhere except a trail, it would be like a little homeless camp.
Yeah.
Except it's all people on the trail. So people just sleep in tents all packed together. They have like a kitchen where people can like earn their meals by washing dishes and stuff. Like it's basically a homeless camp, except it's for camper or for like backpackers.
For like
right?
hardcore.
These people have been on the trail for 3 months. They're having a hard time keeping weight on. Like some of them like struggle with like being able to eat enough calories.
Oh my gosh.
So you can imagine. So that's the people that are at this place. So we come up and that's our starting point. We drove 3 hours down this crazy like mountain road, single lane, huge drop off, super steep, blah, blah, blah. So normal people don't come up here. The people that come up here are people who are there to backpack, period. So we roll up, and it's my dad and my brothers and I, and I'll just say like, I'm probably like right in the average, size range of my brothers and my dad. We're big fellas. I'll put it that way. So we come up and we like go into the little store where they do all this stuff, and we're asking her questions, and she's like, we asked if we could camp for the night there because we're going to head out the next morning. And she's like, you can't like do car camping here, right? And we're like, yeah, we're backpackers. She's like, you guys aren't going to like try to pull an ice chest out or anything like that? We're like, no, we're backpackers. She's like, okay. Like you could tell she just did not buy that we were going to be backpacking. And then it's on a big lake and you have to take a ferry across the lake to get to the trailhead. Mm-hmm. Well, we find out the ferry is basically rowboats with little motors on it, and then they like take you across. And she's like, we're asking about that. She's like, well, we take people like 4 or 5 at a time. And she like sizes up. She's like, you're gonna need your own boat. We're like, what? And it turned out they took us 2 by 2 on the boats across the lake. And they're piling 5 people on the other ones. But again, the other people we're with are like serious. I mean, like you would think they were anorexic, except they've been hiking. So I brought a bunch of snacks up with me, like for the drive up, because we took like 18 hours to drive there. And one of the things I brought was Janelle had a giant tub of red vines that was in her classroom. She gave out as rewards, but they were mostly full. So I brought it with us. We ate a bunch, but there's still a ton left. So before we went out on the trail, I like went around to the guys and was like to the backpackers and was handing out red vines to them. And they're like, oh my gosh, calories, thank you. And they're like gobbling it up because they don't get enough food like on the trail. Oh, thank you. So I handed out a bunch to all of them, and then I still had some left. So I wrote on it, courtesy of popboxmusic.com on the thing, and like left it out there for people to take it. I don't know how much business that we're going to get from that, but
maybe somebody will buy a CD for the trail.
Probably
Hiking songs.
That
can be our next.
So all along the way, like, we basically, until we get like, once we're up 20 miles in and there's no like, then people like, okay, these guys are backpackers because there's no other way to get there.
Yeah.
But as long as we were by that trailhead, everyone was like looking at us like, what's up with these guys? We go across on the boat, and I didn't know this. My dad and Matthew went across first, and there's not like a landing. It's just a big rock that you hop out on. And I guess when Matthew climbed out, he like slipped and like face planted into the rock on accident. Poor guy. So by the time David and I came across, the guy's like, do you want to hold my shoulder to climb out? Can I help you? And I'm like, okay, I guess. But I just like stepped out, and he's like, "You guys gonna be okay out there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like we've done this lots of times." And so, well, I guess so. You guys must be real adventurers, you know. So
they're just all like, "What are you doing out here?
Die. These fats are gonna die on the trail. What do we do? Do we let them go out?" But
there's like some camp meeting. Like, what do we do about those fats?
We got these fats, man. So the best part is that at the end of the trip, after we'd done the 60 miles, we had to come back and pick up our car there. And then we like talked to people. The guy's like, "Oh, you guys made it up! How far did you go? 60 miles!" Oh, you know, they're all excited about it. But yeah, I think there were some people that thought we were gonna die. And we made it. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was
I wonder if there was like a pool going. Like, at what point? Like,
when do they call in search and rescue? Yeah. They're gonna get up to like the first camp and be like, ugh. We were tired. We hiked 6 or 7 miles most days. Our biggest day was a 10-mile day on the way out.
Gosh,
it's long. And we weighed the packs beforehand. Mine was around, I think it was 40 pounds at first, and then I wound up helping take a little extra weight and stuff to unload some of my fellow hikers. So I don't know, I was probably carrying 45 or maybe 50 at the most pounds.
Dang.
And as I showed you beforehand, my leg muscles are there to prove it.
They're
I got like
crazy.
Some, like,
you have like look like a cyclist.
I know, right?
You got like freaking like. Yeah, like
because I'm
freaking.
I'm moving 265 pounds of my own weight plus another 50
and
pounds.
And this is like some like really steep.
Well, yes. So we did 10,000 feet of climb during our thing, like in addition to the 60 miles that we walked.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of walking. It's intense, and I think my group as a whole might have underestimated how far that we could get, you know, or rather overestimated how far we could get, or how hard it would be to get there.
Hey, man, you guys.
But we did it. We did
it.
Job.
You had a good experience. I mean, that's cool at our age, like to be able to be out there with your dad and your brothers, and you're out and.
Well, and we did. I mean, you could look at it as they were trying to do 220 miles and they made it 60, or you could be like, dude, we made it 60 miles. That's a lot of miles. Even when I was younger, I'd never done one that long.
Yeah, so what was your previous?
The previous record was like 33 miles.
Yeah, dude.
And that one, we did that as the middle chunk of our like bigger thing. So, you know, it was good. It was more intense than we're used to. I like to like set up camp and then goof around for a day, but we were like going every single day. So it was good. We survived. My brother actually brought his tent. And it had like these mesh things at the top, and he brought his cell phone and downloaded a show for us to watch. And he like set up a thing he called a tent theater. So each night we like watched a show in the tent. And he had like a solar charger, so he kept it charged the whole time. He also has like this little, or my dad has a stove. Instead of like burning cartridges, you actually feed sticks into it, like burn stuff. Mm-hmm. But it has like a little battery pack. And it has a little fan, so it like superheats it, so it cooks well, and you can charge your phone off it. There's like a USB port out of it.
My God,
nuts! Like, so we had like all these like crazy gadgets and stuff, and you know, I mean, for the most part, you don't even get reception out there.
Well, I think you won your wife's heart with her nice little story where you told her you would hike as far as possible.
Well,
to be able, you would climb the highest peak to be able to talk to her.
Well, the good thing is the truth is
it was very romantic.
It had been 4 days and I hadn't gotten to talk to them because we've been out of reception. And we got to this campground and I could see like this ridge out here, and I knew like on the other side of that ridge there's reception because it's Mammoth was over there, right? And I'm like, they got reception there. So I went, after we got to the campground, I hiked like straight up the hill about 40 minutes. I went up to the base of the ridge, and I still never could get reception and stuff.
Oh.
So I didn't get out to the next day when we actually hiked around. But my dad beforehand, like we gave them a head start, and he talked to her, and he said, "Well, Phil climbed a mountain yesterday to try to get reception for you." So I didn't have to like brag.
It was really sweet what Janelle said.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, Phil's."
It's good. It was a good homecoming, you know, all that stuff. It was hard. It was by far the longest I've been away from Janelle or the kids.
Yeah,
but it's funny because
did they survive?
They did great.
Well, it seemed like Janelle kept them extremely occupied. Every day I'd go on Facebook and it was some new
They went to the museum,
adventure activity.
They did secret shops. They had play dates with like 5 different friends.
They like gardening.
They did a garden thing. That was like the makeup field trip that Luke didn't get to do before. They did like tons of stuff. So they weren't. I mean, they missed me, but they didn't suffer any. You know. Although Audrey, when I got back, she's like, "Daddy, you were gone so long. It's like my friend whose dad is gone all the time." And I'm like, yeah, but he's gone like all the time, and I was just gone once. She's like, I know, but we really missed you.
Oh,
it was hard. It was hard. Like I had my phone, and the main thing I used it for was looking at pictures of the kids and stuff because it was hard, but it was fun. We had a great time, and we survived. And I didn't get sunburned anywhere except one spot. Because I had my sunglasses and I hung them on my t-shirt and it made like a fake V-neck. And if you look closely there, I got a radical like tan from it now because I got a big V-shaped sunburn on my chest. So, yeah, it's good though.
It was fun.
A lot of fun.
How much weight did you lose?
I wound up losing 8.2 pounds.
Man,
which is good.
But you also got some major muscle.
Some muscle too. When that's real, like that does.
Dude, this guy's muscles, like
they're for people on the internet. Check this out, man.
Look at that. Look at that. Like, that's some, like, serious definition. I've never seen that kind of definition on Phil's calves before.
Because, again, 60 miles of carrying, that's
you could probably leg press, like, 400 pounds right now.
I feel like it. It feels good. But
you could do, like, Hindu squats.
If only, like, the top half. Although, I mean, it's not impressive to anyone else, but I just know, and I actually have, like, a bicep right now. Because I've been, like, lifting, like, the backpack and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Dude, like, that'll do it.
It's not impressive to anyone else, but I know. I'm like, oh, dude, there's actually, like, a muscle there. I can flex it. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, it's still a little flabby down there, but.
Yeah, but, I mean, come on.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Victories.
I'm feeling good.
All right, we'll talk about you went to Knott's after.
So yeah, one of the things Janelle had planned, I guess I'm allowed to say it on the show, but Janelle does secret shops.
Yeah, you can.
Whatever, it's not gonna mess anything up.
We can call the secret shop police.
Secret shop police, they're gonna know.
The secret police.
So she had scheduled one for while I was gone, but we wound up coming back earlier than we thought. Blah blah blah. So we went to Knott's Berry Farm, and it was super fun. The highlight of the thing
was it hot?
It wasn't too bad. It was like
crowded?
80. It was like 83.
The crowded?
Medium, but not bad. Like the way that the longest line we waited was like half an hour.
Yeah.
But the thing they're doing right now, and this is our kids this whole day in Calico Ghost Town. It's their 70th
their anniversary stuff.
The kids ate it up. What it is, they have like all these actors and they have a whole storyline.
Can't you like pan for gold and stuff?
Well, you can do that, but it's kind of like Majora's Mask. They have a storyline that plays out all day long.
I did hear.
And at certain times, different events happen throughout the day. So, like, for instance, we get there, and first we go and we talk to the guy at the assay office, and he tells us he found this, like, piece of a map, and he gives us, like, the beginning of a treasure map.
Whoa.
So we set off on this thing and started talking to people.
Just, like,
oh, my gosh, instantly they're hooked. And then, like, they sent us to another. We talked to the newspaper guy, and he's like, you know what? I just found this piece of paper that like shuffled under the door the other day, and then it's like the other piece and it fits together. And then we go, so we keep doing that. But meanwhile, he's like, I don't know if you guys heard, but like it's almost noon and I think something's going down at the train station. So we walk over to the train station and there's a robbery. And as it happens, like we're standing amongst it and the robbers go, let's go. And the robbers like hustle us and we run with the robbers all throughout Calico, all the way over to the hotel where they robbed the hotel, and then they drag us. And there's like a crowd of like 20 people going with them, and then they go and rob the assay office, and they drag us over to the bank, and they're up on the roofs, and they're like herding us down. And then right as they're robbing the bank, the sheriff comes down with the whole posse, and they have a shootout right in front of us. And then we have to go in the bank, and they write like the kids make like
I want to do this,
dude. It's amazing. The kids made like wanted posters for him, and then we continued the treasure thing. Oh, meanwhile, we stopped at the barber, and the barber gave us a note to bring to the school teacher, and it said he gets off at 5 and he'd like to see her. So we went and did all this other stuff, came back at 5, and he proposed to her. So again, it's like Majora's Mask. There's all these events that happen all these certain times, and if you're in the right place, you get to see all these things. We did a fire brigade. We then later joined the posse and went out and like captured the guy and arrested him. We were there for the trial and they threw him in jail. We spent 6.5 hours in Calico Ghost Town doing stuff.
Did they hang anybody?
No, they were like voting for it, but they decided just to throw him in jail instead. And then we got to all pose with him in jail, and the sheriff was out there with his rifle and stuff. It was amazing. We spent 6.5 hours. We didn't even go to the hoedown and the other stuff they had later on in the evening. So it was fantastic.
That sounds awesome,
dude. And I mean, it was fun for me, but the kids, like, it was real.
Yeah.
They were like debating, like, do you think, is he really a robber? Like, what are they actors? And they were like discussing, like, what's going on here? Oh, it was nuts. Okay, and the one other major, and we had fun doing other stuff. Went on Boomerang, and some of their big rides and stuff. They have a new ride where Kingdom of the Dinosaurs was.
Yeah.
That's like Toy Story, like a 3D shooter thing, but it's like way more action oriented. Like like in Toy Story, you stop and then you have a static screen. This one, like you do it and you're moving, and then it, like swings you over here. So it's like way more like interactive like that. But it was really fun.
Sounds cool.
And then final highlight. So I'm looking in the shows, and in Calico at night, there's a group called Crazy Kirk and the Hillbillies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's weird. That's kind of similar to Billy Hill and the Hillbillies, which is like one of my favorite guys from Disneyland.
Oh, yeah. They're great. Is it them?
It's them. They just jumped from Disneyland to Knott's.
They got fired from because they were over at DCA by the challenge. Because
they were in Golden Horseshoe.
Yeah, they're Golden Horseshoe, but they used to be over. Who was over by the Grand Cal, like right over there in DCA? Was that them too? Wasn't that them too?
Maybe. I never saw them. I've only seen them when they did the Golden Horseshoe, and sometimes they played in the barbecue.
Yeah.
That what I mean over there. They might have done over there too.
No, that was somebody else. But
it's the one where the guy puts on the
Yeah.
They were there for 21 years at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And then in 2013 they closed the show.
Yeah.
And I just never heard of it.
So they're over in
I looked it up on Google, and sure enough it was them. Went and saw the show. It was amazing. It's like just like the whole thing. So I stayed afterwards just to ask the lady who was like hosting the show.
Still do the bit with the teeth?
Still does the bit with in fact, he did a whole thing about, you guys want the stupid teeth? I hate the teeth, but I'll do it. And
that goes all the way back to like the Golden Horseshoe Review.
Oh yeah, like I'm telling you,
somebody's been doing that bit since like 1950.
It was magical. So I hung out afterwards and talked to the lady, and they do 3 sets a night, and she said they do totally separate sets. Like the one I saw, they did a Beatles one where they all put on like mops and did like hillbilly Beatles songs and stuff. It was really cool. So I was talking to the lady, and then this other lady was there, and she's like, "Oh, you like the show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been watching them for years. I used to love them over at Disneyland." She's like, "Well, I've probably seen you before. I'm their manager." And I like sat down and talked with the manager for like 15 minutes. She told me the whole story of why they left and stuff. Gave me their business card. Like, yeah, if you're ever interested in doing outside things, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome.
Do they do parties? I wish
they do parties. They do, shows. He also does like Elvis impersonation stuff. He's hosting like a car show, and I don't know, they do all kinds of things. So it was super cool though.
Sounds cool.
I was stoked. So I can see Billy Hill, except now it's Crazy Kirk.
Crazy Kirk.
Crazy Kirk and the Hillbillies. Yep.
I like it.
Same exact thing though.
Do you have any good food items?
Oh, well, yeah. Part of the thing is you have to eat. The best one.
I know Knott's always has. They've been doing a lot of different things with theme park food.
They had a barbecue thing in Calico. Again, we spent most of the day in Calico. They had a barbecue there. Okay, just guess. Think about theme park food.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a rack of ribs, like a big fat rack of ribs, a giant baked potato with all the fixins, coleslaw, and what was it? And the big old thing of like garlic bread. How much in a theme park would you assume you would pay for stuff like that? Keep in mind the large rack of ribs. Large.
At a theme park? Well, how much was the barbecue? That barbecue at Big Thunder Ranch was like...
Oh, for like the all-you-can-eat thing? That was like, I think it was like $40 or something.
So I'm guessing like $20.
$15.99.
That's a good deal.
Really good deal. So, yeah, it was good. And we ate at, what's the other one? The Johnny Rockets they have in there. That's where we had like a little snack time there. So.
Get any funnel cake?
We didn't. No, but we got cotton
Knott's
candy.
Has some pretty epic funnel cake.
They did. Well, because we had to go to like specific places and get specific things for the shop. So,
although I still think that funnel cake outside American Adventure is the best.
That's the best.
Funnel cake. And I've had Knott's funnel cake. And Knott's funnel cake
is fantastic.
Good. And they do a lot of different things with funnel cake.
That one in Florida?
That one in Florida with the giant, because I remember we put a picture and Josh thought it was a giant pat of butter.
Yeah.
But it's a big thing of ice cream.
It's like hand churned ice cream.
And you get the fruit.
Oh, powdered sugar on it. It's the best.
It's the best thing there. Yep. Still there, right?
Yep. It was the last time.
Whatever
it was like last year. So yeah, so Knott's was a lot of fun.
All right, now what's this time travel?
Finally, my family and I decided to time travel.
Yeah.
We're gonna love this.
What?
Guess what we did today? We wanted to like get a movie to watch with the kids. We're like, you know what? Kids don't know what it's like to go to a video store.
Did you go in that video store?
We became members of a video store today.
I almost went in there the one here.
Yeah, the one by the Stater Brothers.
I almost went in there the other day, and then I was going to the diner, but then I was kind of in a hurry, so I didn't. I keep wanting to go in there.
It's like
What's
great.
it like in there?
It's huge. First of all, like it's bigger than most Blockbusters were. It's really, really big. Huge selection. I mean, it's like a video store, just like it used to be, except it's all DVDs now.
Oh,
and Blu-ray.
And speaking of video stores, I did forget to mention this last week. There's a documentary short on YouTube. I'm not on YouTube, on Amazon, called Video World.
Okay.
And it's about this video store in this guy's hometown that have been around since like video stores came out, and it was closing. And it like documents and it talks about like it's a must watch if you're watching.
I mean, because we were
we have again. This has got to be like one of the last mom and pop video stores. They don't exist.
Well, we were joking,
and we have one here in Ukaipa.
It says on the thing that you get videos 2 weeks before Redbox, Netflix, and other video store. And I'm like, that's because there's only one other video store. That's not a typo.
Yeah.
That's like they're the first one. But it's just like it used to be. You know, they got that outside walls, got the new releases, they got the kids section. We rented videos.
How much was it?
Well, okay.
So how much are we talking about? How much is a new release?
A new release is $259.
For how long?
For 7 nights.
Holy crap!
Yeah. Now they do have some of them start out as 1 night releases, but like all the stuff that we wanted to get was all 7 nights. There was a few
like things a brand new.
But like for instance, what's like a brand new one that just came? Like Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
That was 7 nights.
Well,
so there's a few things though that were 1 night.
Do they have video games?
They do have video games. Although the policy is
selection?
You have to rent 20 movies before you can rent video games.
Because people steal video games.
Right. And you can only the first time you can only rent 5 movies. Because we picked out like 10 since it's 7 nights. And then she's like, yeah, for the first time you can only do 5.
They probably have a big.
Probably people steal stuff. But then you can rent up to 7 once you're like a regular.
But $2 for 7 days.
So yeah, it's $259, and then they have like a huge selection of dollar ones. Like everything in the middle of the room is $1.
Like a good selection.
Yeah, I mean like the kids section, it's the biggest video store I've ever been to. Like it's huge, and so their like kids section was like 5 giant rows of stuff. Like I mean, and it was all $1 for everything. So it's
did the kids get a kick out of it?
Oh, they loved it. Because we took Audrey and Luke to Blockbuster before it closed, but Luke was tiny. Mm-hmm. Audrey, like, I mean, I remember her toddling around and picking stuff out, but she doesn't remember it. So we're like, just go ahead, pick what you want. And they loved it. They ate it up.
I remember as a kid, going to the video store is like the greatest.
I have such good memories. I'm like, I want my kids to know what that is.
Like, my greatest memories are like finding tape, and then like, this is very specific Brendo memory, but like, when a new WWF tape was available, like when they got the new one, or if like we found, because I would go around and I knew what, like with wrestling tapes, even back then they were hard to come by, right. So I knew what stores had which, and if they got some new random one or like something, and so like that was a big deal. But then like going to Blockbuster or going to videos, and like, oh, so great, and just looking, being able to like look
all this stuff. And Audrey found one that she's like, I saw an ad for this in a hotel once. I'm like, you can get that if you want. Now the only hitch is, before we checked it out, we had to like go on our phones and look and make sure none of it was on like Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
On like paper, but that's not hard to do. You just check. There's like websites that say where can I stream.
My favorite. There's an app called Can I Stream It?
Can I Stream It?
That's what I use. Yeah. It's also a website.
So we just looked at that,
and it does Netflix, Amazon. It does everything.
Yeah. Just to make sure, because it's silly to pay for that. But with your new thing, you get 3 free ones.
There you go.
So we got 3, and then since we're only allowed to get 5 for starter, we let the kids pick out a bunch and get one for us.
You got like a membership card?
Yeah. Well, no, you just use your phone number. You don't actually get a card anymore.
I want a card.
I know.
I still have a Blockbuster card. I have a ton of I have my old I'm like that nerd that has like his old junior high school IDs,
yep. I have
and like a bunch of random stuff, and I still have a Blockbuster card.
Yep. They
from
don't issue cards. It's just all on the computer, but I don't know. It's fun.
It's fun.
And I don't know, for whatever reason, like that old feeling, you go outside and we started like in the Z's and went backwards of new releases. And it's the same thing with Blockbuster, where like new releases in quotes, like some of the new releases were like a year old or whatever. But then it also has like all the random,
all kinds of crazy random catalog titles.
What the heck is this? I've never heard of this before. And I mean, I'm not saying you can't get it elsewhere, but that experience is a real experience.
It's just funny now because like DVDs are so cheap.
Oh, I know, it's ridiculous.
But just
I don't know. It's
fun.
I don't know like how much we'll do it, but it was a fun experience.
Man, I remember I worked at a video store when we were switching over to DVDs. So like it was still like 75% VHS.
Right.
Just that transition was nuts. And then like we had so many VHS tapes, and by the end, like we just discarded like thousands of VHS tapes. Because at one point we had a like I remember our last like the day we had our last big like getting rid of the VHS sale because we had really started DVD with really this is like 2001
right
like when I left and they were really starting to get rid of the VHS and the last big like previously viewed push the most expensive movies were like $4 and even at that we could not give VHS tapes away and but me being the doofus that I was because I had an employee discount so like and with preview movies it was like 75% off so like I was buying like VHS tapes for like $0.25 and so like I bought like 100 VHS and I probably watched them not even all of them until they ended up getting put in a box and I think my mom might still have a box. No, I think at some point I told her to get rid of them because like I kept like before I left I have my Star Wars, a couple like home movies. I had some wrestling tapes, which now I can get rid of those.
Right.
Although for sentimental value, my SummerSlam '88 VHS tape in the original box, not like the reissue box.
Right.
That has like the match card on it and like all this stuff. But Steve, you said you're sending a letter. I don't have it yet. Do you mean you're sending a letter to me? Or you're sending a letter in knots?
Maybe in knots.
I don't know. But anyways, what were we talking about? VHS tape.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but then I also kept, at the time, The Simpsons hadn't come out on DVD yet, and I had a bunch of Simpsons VHS tapes, which I still have those.
Don't really need that anymore.
Because that was really annoying, because they were like random. It wasn't in any kind of order.
Yeah,
they were like all those collections ones. Because I had like a Nicktoons one too. It was just random.
I still have a Ren and Stimpy one that's like all the shorts.
Oh, yeah, we watched that all the time.
I love those.
I remember watching that. Oh, the barber sent a letter. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun. Yeah. Send a letter. What's that?
Letter, yeah. Wrote a note.
I thought you were talking about sending reader mail.
It was surreal. It just felt like going back in time though.
I'm glad that we live in a town that's because most towns don't.
I know, and it's set up the same way like Blockbuster.
It's because we have a lot of old people.
Yep. Well, it's funny. She was telling us like about Blu-ray. She's like, "Now, if you get Blu-rays, like some people don't know, you have to like update your Blu-ray player, or won't play some of the new ones." And we're like, "Yeah, it's cool. Don't worry." Like, but she just want to make sure. But they also have a thing because the DVDs, if they're scratched, she said just call them, they'll exchange them for free. So that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just cool. We just decided we're like, we gotta go to a video store. Let's do it. We're just gonna do it.
Nice.
We did.
All right. We got some fat alerts.
Yes. Well, I kind of talked about the backpack stuff.
Oh, okay.
Well, mostly just our, if you want to be taken seriously on the John Muir Trail or the PCT, you gotta be skinny.
Well, I have one. It's not really a fat alert because it's mostly a tall alert.
Okay.
All right. So I went to Disneyland last Saturday with Brian and his wife Maggie, and we went on I hadn't been on the Matterhorn since it reopened, and it has got the new Yeti and everything.
Yeah, all the new effects.
And they put the individual seats. So we did the single rider. So now it has a single rider line.
Right.
Let me tell you, that's a trick.
You don't really sit together.
Yeah, you don't sit together anyway. So
anymore anyway.
I don't really care about sitting like we did it for cars because like you either you go on this because there's no line in single rider line of cars.
Yeah.
There's no, you go like you basically go around. So I was like, do you want to do this or do you want to wait for 2.5 hours?
Right.
Like, and you're enjoying the ride. It's fun. So like, it was fun. But it's so Matterhorn. And I was in these two girls. I think they were like Scandinavian or Swedish or something. One of those countries.
Okay.
And they get in front of, they're in front of me, and then I'm like in the back. And at first I'm like, oh good, I'm in the back, I'll have more room. And I get in there and I'm like, oh god, like I'm like, and she's like, so like and I'm like trying to get my seatbelt on, but like my knees are like pressed, and then I see that there's like these like small indentations where you can kind of stick your legs in. So I try and I'm like, oh, that's not working. And so then we go, so you have like 2 points where first you like go and then it stops, and then you go right up to the cave and it stops.
Yeah.
So we get to that point, I'm still trying to get my seatbelt. I'm kind of like just like jammed in there. I'm like, oh god, like this might have been a big mistake, because I'm like, my knees are just like jammed against. And she asked me, so she comes up and she's holding the extender, and I'm like, no, like god no, like and so like she comes up with this extender, and like already I can like, I just feel I'm like having flashbacks to that Batman the ride moment. I'm like, oh god, I'm like, no. Like, if I have to get up out of it, because I'm like, where we are, like, it'd be really awkward to, like, get out of the thing, and then you have to walk
across the track.
And I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to have to get out of this thing in front of her. This is a nightmare. And I'm like, I'm starting to freak out. And she comes up with the extender, and she's like, do you want, and she asks, like, do you want more legroom? And I'm like, I'm okay. Because I just didn't want to cause a scene. Right. And she's like, well, you're gonna want to put your legs in the thing. So I'm jamming my legs in there, and I'm like, oh god. And again, this is not a fat thing. This is like a height thing.
Right.
And I'm like, oh god. So finally, she's like, she has me stand up, and I put the seatbelt on, and like jam in there, and I'm in there, but I'm like, this is the most uncomfortable thing I've ever been. So I'm already in pain, and then the ride starts, and it's like every bump is like, I am like screaming, and like I can barely enjoy, because there's like that whole part where the Yeti like chases you,
climbs up the mountain with you and stuff.
And then like the animatronics are so cool, but the whole time I'm like, oh my god, when is this gonna end? Make this end. And these girls like, and I'm just like, oh god, like, and like my knees are just like, I'm in so much pain. I'm like, I think I may have injured myself, like,
and then bruises, right?
And then well, I have like. So the next day, they were like purple, like, and I still have like a giant bruise like right here, and like right here, like where my knees were just smashed. Again, it was terrible. And then, oh my gosh, when the ride gets out, and if we know the first stop, and we're stopped, and I'm like thinking, I don't think we got this. Like, what, they're gonna have to come get the fat horn, because I'm like, I think I'm stuck. And I'm like, I'm having a panic attack, like, and like I see Brian and Maggie, and like and they're like, and I'm like, oh god, like we're gonna miss dinner, like I'm gonna be stuck on the Matterhorn, we're gonna have to freaking take apart the sled, like I'm just having this like night, I was like freaking out, and so finally I'm just like shove, and it hurt so bad. I was like, like I had to, because like they're like it was terrible. Like right when they were starting to walk up to me, and I'm like, oh god, I gotta get out. So I'm like, I just do this last like, like, and then I get out there, and like when I stumble over to Maggie and Brian, I'm just like, we get the frick out of here, and like I can barely breathe, and. Yeah, Homer in the water slide. They like, because there's a part in The Simpsons where Homer goes down a water slide and he gets stuck, and they end up having to like take a crane, and they got like the whole tube pulled out where it's him stuck in the tube section.
So no.
Yeah.
Some of the seats have better legroom.
Well, I think that's why she was asking me, but I should have done it. If they ask you to take it, because let me tell you, it was not fun. Because that ride is still bumpy as all get out. It's not comfortable, which is crazy, because I know at some point, didn't like in 2005 or 2006, they took out they redid the entire track, and it's still just as bad. It just really slams you all over the place. and my knees are just like
Well,
stuck.
and I'm not as tall as you, and I even have a hard time with legroom if I get into like shorter ones on that. So I can only imagine like
it was terrible.
So
to the point where like I don't want to ever go on that again.
But if you asked for the one with longer legroom,
I'm still like, what if it's not enough?
It might not be.
Because
it won't be as
if you
bad.
are I'm gonna say 6'1" and over, like, and if you're 6'3" and over, like me, like, you're gonna definitely want that legroom. And I don't know, I feel like if you're over like 6'5", like, forget about it.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to remember which one.
Well, on Space Mountain, if you go in the front, it's
right. You have the longer thing.
But like this one, like, so I think it's in the front.
It must be.
But I don't know, like, they need like a tall. It's definitely not tall friendly because that was everything else. Yeah, so that was crazy. But anyways, Disneyland trip, it was amazing.
Sounds like you guys had fun.
Like, I went out Friday, checked in my hotel, because like I got there right at check-in, so then I could enjoy some. First of all, I want to enjoy some good air conditioning.
Right.
Because it's been so hot here. You're in my apartment right now.
Warm now that we have the air off.
Especially since I'm pretty sure my heater is like on.
Yeah, it's like listen.
No, that's my fridge.
Oh, that's your fridge. Okay. Well, still, it was blowing hot air when I came in here
Like,
today.
it's terrible. So I have to have the air conditioner on pretty much all the time
to
fight it. And I finally opened up a thing with the. I should have opened up a request. But anyway, so I'm like, and also I got it because Brian and Maggie were driving from Arizona, so they were gonna get there till like 7 or 8.
Right.
And so like I got a good like 3 hours
nice.
of hotel TV time.
Hotel TV.
Yeah, dude.
The best.
So great. And this hotel TV was really good. They had a ton of channels. They had a lot of random channels.
Nice.
And I watched a ton of hotel TV. Even they had like 2 HBOs. So I watched some random stuff. And but then we got there when it opened.
Did you rope drop?
We were there for rope drop, except we got there, they hadn't done rope drop yet, and then we were like, we needed some coffee.
Okay.
So we did coffee, and then the rope drop, and then we went. So the first thing we did was we went and got fast passes for Hyperspace Mountain, and then immediately. So then, dude, I'll tell you right now. Okay, so I'm pretty sure our record. So there was a day, our record day was. It was in January, before annual passes. This was like when seasons were a thing at Disneyland.
Right.
Before the annual passes were like
crazy.
Before they did the like monthly payment plan.
Right.
So there weren't a ton of them out there. So like there was a real off season, whereas now there is no real off season because during that season the SoCals are not blocked out.
Right.
So then there's like tons of people that go. But this was after New Year's. It was like the week after New Year's.
Yep. It was a
in January. It was a rainy day in January, and the park was empty. Like, I worked in the morning. I remember I called you guys, and I'm like, Phil, there's nobody here. Come here, and then I'll take off, and then we will go for the day. So that's what you guys did. You came out, and then I got off work. There was nobody, so I'm like, can I ER, like early release? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Save us money. So I think I worked an hour in my 8-hour shift.
Yeah.
And
it was Janelle and we brought.
I think it was like your whole.
Else.
I feel like your family was there. It was like your dad and the kids and.
Yeah.
It was like everybody.
I know. Yeah, my sisters were there.
Yeah.
It was before
It was everybody. It was the whole Vecchio clan. No kids, but this is like this would have been.
Maybe we just had my sister. Maybe my parents were.
I feel like your dad was there. Maybe that was another time.
Maybe Matt.
I feel like because I remember we were all packed in that Casey Jr.
Yeah, we
train.
all got in the one.
There was like a bunch of us.
It was cool.
I remember. Your sisters were definitely there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember it was a lot of people, but
and we got on
it was raining almost the whole day, but it was everything. I remember it was raining enough that like it was empty, but nothing was like closed.
Right. Plus, we're still in the post-Christmas when you have like
Haunted
Mansion holidays and stuff.
And I remember I wore it was one of the few times I wore that giant jacket because it was cold.
Yeah.
And it was wet, but we rode. I'm pretty sure, I don't know our exact total, but I'm fairly certain it was 31 rides.
It sounds right. I bet you Janelle would know exactly, but it's right in that range.
Which is a lot of rides.
A lot of stuff. And like big rides, too.
Okay. And that was on this day, it was a peak day, so you had to pay extra.
Right.
So my ticket was not cheap. But I think because Derek told me this, and other you guys have told me that because of this peak thing, and because the only pass on these peak days is the top one, even deluxe is blocked out. Yeah. So I think because of that and the increased ticket price, it keeps the crowds at a decent level.
Did you go on Saturday?
Yeah.
Saturday is the day.
It was Saturday. Yep. But it was in July, which normally, like, you would think, like, that was crazy. And it was, like, I mean, it was, like, fairly crowded at some points. But we did 21 rides.
That's awesome.
On a Saturday in July. And also, it was funny. I'm like, it's kind of hot today. It was, like, 80, right. 79, 80. But Brian and Meg were like, this is amazing. Like, yeah, the lady, one of the ladies where we went to each was like, well, she asked them where you guys from, and they were like, Arizona. Was like, oh, well, then this is nice. We're like, yes. Like, it's amazing. Yeah, they were stoked.
That's awesome.
But we did 21 rides, and that was we were there from 8 a.m. But I don't know if I could go till midnight anymore from open to close, like, because we were after dinner, so we got out of dinner like 9 o'clock, and I was already like, I think I'm done. But then we went back to California Adventure and stayed there pretty much till it closed. And then, so we were done by 10.
Wow.
And we did like a 2-hour dinner. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Okay.
And we did a long lunch. We went to Secret Nachos.
Secret Nachos.
They were huge. The Secret Nachos. Because especially when you're out in the heat and in the crowds, and then it's like so quiet in there, so out of the way. And like when you take them, they're like, where are we going? And like,
yep.
And then you go in there, it's just like, it's quiet, it's air conditioned, there's refillable sodas, and
never crowded.
And man, those nachos. Although it's funny, like, since I've been going for so long, they've shrunk a little bit, and the price has definitely gone. So I remember it used to be like $7.50, $8,
and it was like twice
and
as big.
Now it's like with a drink, it's like $15.
Well, and like I remember, like Janelle and I would get one and split it. And
yeah.
We couldn't even finish it. Now it's like easy.
Yeah.
Not just because I've gotten bigger, yeah.
But so that was fun, and we went there. But yeah, so even just the first day, and me being, because here's the people's biggest mistakes. Okay. Here's why people don't get stuff done in the park and why they tire themselves out unnecessarily, is they don't do things in an orderly fashion. They go all over the park. You go from like Space Mountain and then go all the way over to like freaking Indiana Jones or tomorrow. Right. Like I have always, my dad taught me this, is like the park is designed, you can just go around. And so we're in Tomorrowland. All right, we have a fast pass. In the time, our window before the fast pass was available for Hyperspace Mountain, we went on Star Tours. We just walked right on the Star Tours. Then we walked on to Buzz Lightyear. Then practically walked on to Finding Nemo. So we did like all the rides right there. And then we went on Hyperspace Mountain is so amazing. It's the most fun thing.
It's the best.
It's like, dude, you're in an X-wing.
Dude, and then when the TIE Fighter,
it's like right there, and they're like all over the stuff. It was so much fun. It was so good. I can't wait for that Star Wars ride. I think that's going to be like the best ride in the history of rides.
But I wouldn't mind if they left Hyperspace.
I hope they do.
Or at least have it like a recurring.
I guess we didn't. What is the Jedi Pass of the Jedi that's in the where Captain EO was? Is that just like a?
Oh, okay. It's like basically a big supercut trailer of like the first 6 movies.
Oh, okay.
The prequels. But it's not like sequential. It goes themed, so it'll show like heroes, and it'll show Luke, and then
is it cool?
Obi-Wan. It's cool.
We didn't do it.
You probably could go on the internet and find similar like supercut trailers for Star Wars. It's not.
Is it in 3D?
I think, but I can't remember for sure now.
Yeah.
And then it shows like it ends with a trailer for Force Awakens.
Right. Well, that's still going.
It's cool. It's just not like you didn't miss anything huge.
And then so we didn't do like the meet and greets because that would take a ride time.
Right, and that takes a long time. Although it is cool.
Yeah, especially since I heard the Chewbacca like actually like talks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And like all this, because somebody told me, I forgot who I was talking to. Their niece was like, all they want to do was go meet Chewbacca. So then we took her to meet Chewbacca, and she like freaked out.
That was Steven.
Oh yeah,
telling us
Steven's telling that story. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like as soon as she got in there, totally freaked out.
And then doesn't want to have anything to do with it now. Yeah.
Which reminded me of your sister Amy when we spent an entire day trying to find Poodle.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we found, because like I remember I found my cast member guide, because it tells you where they're gonna be and when, and I'm like, all right, Toontown, fine, we're going, and we finally, and she freaked out.
Yep.
Couldn't even get a picture. But yeah, it was pretty funny. So yeah, we did those. So we did that. We did Cars. We did so we went and did there, and then we went over. We did Adventureland. Then we did New Orleans Square. So we just did all the rides.
Nice.
Did everything. The train depot. You said you got to go across.
Yeah.
They had that like closed off.
It wasn't like we did, but then like right when we were done, they closed it off. So it's not like always open that way. It just
when we were there,
windows of time.
It wasn't open. But we did get to take our picture in front of the train and stuff.
Cool.
That was cool.
But yeah, it wasn't like.
But it's cool they have little exhibits and stuff.
Yeah, and like
it just seemed really cool.
We have to talk to the guy there and stuff.
So that was cool.
I think if you're there at the right time, you can still do that. I bet it just it's not always open. Someone has to be able to escort you back there, otherwise you'd wander off into backstage or something.
Yeah. So that was really cool, and we had a lot of fun, and we did Cars. Oh, we did the new Soarin'.
Oh yeah, how's that?
It's really cool. It just goes all around the world. And did I tell you about? Well, some of the I'm curious how much of the shots were like. It seems like they used a lot of CGI.
All right.
Like on some there's this part where these polar bears. I'm like, there's no way. Like again, like some of the shots are like this is, but like it's really cool. Like you go all around the world, Taj Mahal, like all the big landmarks.
Kind of makes me sad though, because I love that old one. It's like I wish they would do like I wish they did with Star Tours, like just have it like rotate out, like have the old one there.
Well, like they did that with Circle Vision. They would switch them out. They would switch them out and bring some of them back. Yeah. The Great Wall, like they obviously put like CGI people on it.
I think even on the original one, like think about when
when the guy falls out on
the guy hang gliding towards you. You got the guys like climbing in Yosemite, like they weren't really wavy. Yeah. So there was some of that stuff.
But this one, it seems like they go a little bit even, but it's still really fun. And because I have to talk about this because he even said he gave us permission. So Brian, turns out, has an intense phobia, not of heights, but of dropping. And I guess it's because when he was like in Iraq, he served in the military, and because like being on the helicopters, because like when they were like getting attacked, like evasive maneuvers in a helicopter just to go up and down a whole lot, and so I think he had enough of that to last him a lifetime. And we did it, and let me tell you, I've never heard a grown man scream so much.
Poor guy.
He was really freaked out.
I mean, if you don't like dropping, that's pretty much what that
I don't
is.
think I felt like I told him, but I don't know if I told him enough, because I'm like, yeah, it's a big drop, but I think I should have maybe been more specific about, because it just goes up and down, and he was already grabbing onto Maggie, and at a certain point he grabbed onto me too, but yeah, he yelled a lot. He yelled a lot.
Similar experience.
He freaked out. Brian, it's okay.
All right.
But you did it.
Right. Taste your fear.
But they were going back on like the next day with their family, like a bunch of their family, and he's like, yeah, I'm not
doing that anymore.
And then I did the whole how much money. He's like, and I'm like, if I gave you $10,000, he's like, yeah, I'd do it for $10,000.
Of course I would.
So then I'm like just trying to, and I was kind of playing the Phil game with him, but it's not as, I don't know. I mean, he was game, but I felt like, I don't know, it wasn't. That's our like little thing. Like, all right, the giant hair tunnel. But then I would joke, because like we'd see like some other, and I'm like, so this has 8 drops. Like when we get on like the Pinocchio ride, I'm like, Brian is a big drop, like it drops 8 times, and But it was fun. And then we went on like a bunch of other 21 rides. But
Nice.
the highlights were probably the new Soarin' was good. The
Hyperspace
Zone was great. Cars, it's always good.
Cars is good.
And we had dinner.
Oh yeah, where'd you eat?
Blue Bayou.
Yeah.
Dude.
What'd you get?
That freaking jambalaya, dude. That jambalaya, it's the most filling thing. I couldn't finish it. The waitress was shocked that because Brian cleaned it up, I think just from all our activity. And because we went to Secret Nachos, and then we really didn't eat anything until Blue Bayou. And so we were really hungry. And dude, that jambalaya is like so filling, but it's like so good. It's like all the seafoods, and it's so good. And then those rolls. I mean, like, it's not cheap, but it's so good. And the service, dude, this guy, the waiter. So we had a waitress, but then we had like the waiter guy.
Right.
And like he not only kept a Diet Coke in the chamber at all times. There was never. I had my drink and another one at all times.
That's all you want. That's all you need.
They got 25%. I tip 25%. You keep a Diet Coke in the chamber the entire time I'm sitting there for the whole 2 hours. That's a 25% tip right there. Not to mention like bread and like all all that good bread and all that good food. That jambalaya and that freaking gumbo. I mean, even though now, because I was worried, having had the New Orleans, the real gumbo, but it was still really good. It holds up. The jambalaya holds up too, because I was a little concerned. Because let me tell you, I've been back to the Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen. Beignets are garbage.
Not as good.
I mean, they're not garbage.
Bread pudding's still pretty good.
Bread pudding's still pretty good, but those beignets, once you've had Café du Monde, like,
it's hard to go back.
It is.
And just the experience of having it where you have it too.
Yeah, so the Disney gumbo is not as special as it used to be for me, but it's still really good. Oh my gosh, dude, because I was just bummed they don't have those freaking steak medallions that they used to have.
They don't have that anymore?
No, they have like just straight up steak.
Good.
But those medallions, I just really loved. That was my like dish of choice.
Although I just still love going to lunch and getting that Monte Cristo.
Well, they have that. You can get that all the time at Cafe Orleans now.
Oh yeah, I know. But something about having it in the Blue Bayou.
The Monte Cristo sandwich is like the definition of like
excess.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I remember because someone's like Monte Cristo. When you tell somebody that doesn't know, like what like that's a thing.
Yeah, it is. You think like KFC invented like crazy sandwiches? Yeah. No, they've been around, man. Deep fried ham and cheese, double decker.
People in the South, like
covered in powdered sugar, dipped it in fruit jelly. Yeah, KFC's got nothing.
I remember when the double down came out. I'm like, have people not heard of like a Monte Cristo sandwich?
Come on. Seen this. It's old news.
Yeah. So the Disneyland trip was a huge success.
Sweet.
I really think I could be like a professional
like a tour guide,
Disney guide. Yeah. Because we also I did the inside Dole Whip, which
of course.
That'll cut because the outside Dole Whip stand. I looked on Mouseway. It was 45 minutes long.
We're waiting around the corner.
And then you go in the back and you're like maybe 10 minutes. Yeah.
More people.
Brian had never been in the Tiki Room.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you think?
I know.
Great.
It's great. It's pretty chill in there. Although we didn't work that. At that point, we were pretty tired, and he's like, "I could fall asleep in there." Oh, I have.
Oh,
I've slept in there.
That's the nap place.
And dude, getting that back against the wall.
Let me tell you, when I brought the kids there during
that was like
the
nap place, man. That and the train. I told the story. Well, I don't know if I told them the story where I once slept in the caboose for like 4 hours.
Yep. Might as well if you're gonna nap somewhere.
Yeah. So that was cool. I took a little peek at the Star Wars land construction. They are working hard because even when I was walking home at like 10, they were still working back there.
They want to make all the money.
They are working back there. Apparently, starting next week, they're gonna have like they're so far along that they're putting like little peepholes in the fence.
Did they update the Blue Sky Cellar?
I don't know. I don't even think that's still. Is that still there?
It's there physically. I don't know if it's open.
I didn't go by there. I didn't see it.
I feel like that they should have that.
Okay, let me tell you one thing. The thing that they put in to replace the Mad Tea Party.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the Mad Tea Party's gone.
The spinny cups?
No. At California Adventure. You know, the outdoor.
Oh, I thought you meant they took out the teacups.
Yeah, they took out the teacups.
Like, what?
No.
That's a big thing.
No.
Okay. The Mad Tea Party.
It's like just like a DJ.
What, like, is it?
There's no. It's like the theme was like it's summer.
Summer.
It's really stupid. Although there is a stage area and no one was there, where it was just like bubbles. So we just kind of like stood in there. It's like just bubbles everywhere. Because again, there was like nobody around. It's like, remember, there would just be tons of people. Like there's nothing in where Flynn's Arcade was. Because at least like for Alice in Wonderland, they had like carnival games and stuff.
Right.
There's nothing. Like there's nothing.
Let's go put the
Tron is so awesome. It was the theming was awesome. Everything was awesome. It was like being at the end of Line Club, and I told Brian about the Flynn's Arcade. Like, he got mad. He's like, "Why did I say
it looked just like in the movie."
It was awesome.
Oh.
So that was awesome. And then, man, we're already out of time. What a surprise.
What?
But I have to talk about it.
Yeah, you gotta tell us this.
Dude. So Sunday, went to the Arc. First I went, I had a little bit of a Hollywood trip. I did a little Hollywood trip.
Okay.
So first I went to, have you ever been to the Waffle?
No.
It's on Sunset Boulevard. It's like kind of by the ArcLight, like across the street.
Okay.
I remember going there with Ross and Derek, like back in the day, and I remember like they have this because for lunch, they have like they're like these giant sandwiches that instead of bread is waffles, and
That's awesome.
They're really good. But I had their like waffle breakfast, and they have the most amazing. They have like all kinds of waffles. There's like giant Belgian waffles. And so I had the waffle breaks where you get a half a waffle, but a half a waffle is still fun. And I had the red velvet waffle, but they have like all kind. I mean, every kind of waffle, and then like eggs and like a full breakfast, and like it was really good and awesome. And then I went to Amoeba, and basically had to resist sending. I was if they had Slow on vinyl, I would have bought it, but the guy said they've been selling out of it.
Nice.
Because I asked him, and he's like, yeah, can't keep it on the shelf.
Good.
And because I'm like, if they had it, I would have bought it. But then
get it online.
Yeah, but I just because I was there, and I was kind of like, I'm at Amoeba, and then I was just looking at some other stuff and like going through the bins.
Did you get anything?
No.
Oh.
I came close. A couple things. There were some CDs I was looking at, but I'm like, I'm not gonna listen to a CD. Like, I'm not gonna listen to a CD. That was kind of like, when am I gonna? I listen to podcasts in my car. Well, I don't even listen. I don't look at my records just sitting there. Like, I don't have. When am I gonna like?
I don't know.
Like, I listen to everything on my computer. So, like, I got like my got my system here. I don't know. But it was just fun being in Amoeba, and I could spend hours there. And I almost spent too much time in there because I almost missed. I went to see Secret Life of Pets.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
Very good.
ArcLight's awesome, but it's so like again, like I told you, for a freaking matinee, it was like $15.
Crazy.
Luckily, like I didn't. I know where to park for free, because if I had to pay, I would have been like $20 with the parking. But yeah, it was nuts. But the movie was great.
Really.
And Lynch's script great.
Yeah.
Really funny. And it's just cool having like there's a freaking character named after Derek. Like hearing like Derek, no, like.
You can probably guess what Mike Kitt's favorite line was from it.
What?
When they go into the sewer and he's like, it smells like caca with a side of doo-doo. Or I can't remember. They'll tell you the right order or something like that. Or poo-poo and caca. Whatever it was. Like that, he just lost it.
There was a lot of, like, again, like, we know what they're doing. There's a lot of pee.
Come on, they hit right at the target audience.
Like, right away, as soon as that chihuahua, like, peed in, like, the, like, thing, I'm like, oh, there you go.
They loved it. I'm telling you, they loved it.
It was really cool. Like, the voice talent of that movie was nuts.
kids both. They had a. I don't know where we got them, but they have like little Rex dolls. I think maybe it was like McDonald's or something like that, like that size of thing. And then at Knott's Berry Farm, one of the things we had to do was the carnival games, and they won one of the bunny from it. The Kevin
Hart bunny.
What's the character?
I don't know.
I can't remember the character name. Anyway, so they had like their stuffed animals with them as we watched it.
Oh, that's
I mean, like they're all in, you know. So.
But it was great, and like, I think it's awesome that you can get a stuffed Derek. Like,
yeah.
And it's named after Derek.
The bunny was the favorite. I want to say like in our group because he's got the Kevin Hart humor. When he climbed out of the water, he's like, I feel good. I feel handsome. I feel wet, but I look good. I don't know. Oh, his.
It was really great. It was really great. So I went to that, and then I went to the Hollywood Bowl, and let me tell you, the greatest thing anybody ever did for me was when Jerry told me about parking at the zoo for the bowl. Because parking at the bowl has got to be like, I feel like you only do it once, and then you're like, never again, because one, it's like $20. Yeah. Two, it's stacked parking, so if you're at the front, you're done. You're gonna be camped out there. Like there were some people. I saw a woman crying when I was walking to the bus because she realized that like, oh, I'm gonna be here all night.
Everyone else is gone.
Yeah. And like people at the bowl that go to the bowl. I love bowl because I feel like it's a good crowd of people that they're like chill and they actually want to be there for the show. And I mean, yeah, a lot of people go there and like drink a bunch but it just, I don't know. Maybe it was just because it was the Brian Wilson crowd. I made a joke. It was international, like the national gathering of Hawaiian dads in Hawaiian shirts. I just started, like, you could just start, even in my section, I'm like, there's one, sitting next to two, look at that Hawaiian shirt. Yeah. Dude, it's just dads everywhere, Hawaiian shirts everywhere. It was, and like, I was definitely on the younger side of, and then there was like, the really random, like, hip teenagers. Right. But I was definitely on the younger end of the spectrum. Well, but everybody was super cool. It was awesome.
Good show.
Oh my God. So starting off, M. Ward, who you might be familiar with because he's the him and she and him.
Oh, okay.
And halfway through the set, he brought out Zooey Deschanel. They did some songs. Nice. And then he has another group called Monsters of Folk with the dude from My Morning Jacket and Connor Oberst, Bright Eyes. Right. And then I forgot who the fourth dude did, but he wasn't there. But the three of them, so the My Morning Jacket guy and Connor Oberst and M. Ward, they played a bunch of songs. It was awesome. And that they did not do that. That was like exclusive to the show because it was on Stereo Gum, Pitchfork, like everybody was going crazy. Apparently, neither of those groups have played together in a long time. So that was a big deal, and it was a great set. And then Brian Wilson came out with his band, and it was just everything I wanted it to be. And then everybody knows that like this has been like a huge anticipatory thing ever since like we've been really deep diving in the Beach Boys for like the last year. And so this was like the culmination of all that. And seeing him up there with his piano and his stage banter, I think it's mostly his coping mechanism for being up there in front of so many people, because he's got major anxiety, but it's also just so funny. Like, he'll just be like, all right, this is this song, this is it, and he just like his little like just weird jokes and just like, all right, everybody having a good time, everybody. He's just so like I want to adopt you, Brian Wilson, or I want you to like adopt me and just hang out and like sing songs for me, and he's just. And you can tell he's having a good time up there, and it's like, you know, I mean, the only original Beach Boys are like it's him and Al,
right? And
there was a few times where he's like Mike Love sings on this, but I'm gonna sing for him because he couldn't be. He's very nice, like and so there were a few. I heard whenever there was a few whenever he mentioned Mike Love, there was a few boos. Especially that role. Do you ever read that Rolling Stone interview? The newest one that he still comes off as like a total jerk face. Like, wow, he's still very angry.
Still angry after all these years.
And then they, Blondie Chaplin, who's been with the band since like Holland, and so so they started off. I didn't know how they're gonna like. I'm like, are they just gonna play Pet Sounds and they're gonna have like an encore? Like, so they were smart. Like, like this guy Brian knows what he's doing. So kick it off immediately with like I forgot what big. I think it was California Girls. And like kick it off with a big hit and played like Get Around and like. But then they would do like some like random tracks like. They did like, well, no. They started off. So here's the great. So all I'm thinking, I'm like, if he plays this one song from Smile, like I'm so. Starts off with Our Prayer, like starts off with Our Prayer, and then right into Heroes and Villains, and just hearing because they had 11. It was an 11-piece band, so like pretty good size, great. And then he had Al Hardeen's son. I think it's Matt Hardeen or Mike Hardeen. I think it's Mike Hardeen.
Okay.
He did Brian's high parts.
Nice.
And he's amazing. And like, holy cow! Like, and Brian trained him. Like, so it's like having like a surrogate Brian Wilson who can still do those crazy
super
high parts. And he's amazing. And then this other band. It's like I don't know if you read that article that. I posted it. From NPR, where how Brian found like the rest of his band, and they were like a Brian Wilson like tribute band, and he's like, "Who are these guys? I want these guys. Like these guys are amazing," and then he kind of took them under his wing, and they've been in his band, some of those guys since like the '90s, and it's just so good, and just oh my gosh, and they played like some songs from Smile, they played some big hits, then they played like two or three tracks from Holland. They played like Sail On Sailor.
Wow.
And that was because those are like Blondie's songs because like he plays like the lead guitars on them.
Right.
And so when they brought out Blondie, they played some of the Holland songs, and then they played like some other random. They played like some really old. They played like Dance Dance Dance. And like. And oh my god, it was so amazing. It was just so amazing seeing him and hearing him, and it's still great. And then there's a few moments like, oh god, like is he okay? Is he gonna be like? But like then he'll just go right, just boom, and like his band is so good that like I don't know, it was incredible. And then they play all of Pet Sounds, and it's like so even the instrumentals and everything. And like it's just like perfect.
Did they close with Good Vibrations then?
Well, they closed. They did Pet Sounds, then Good Vibrations, and then that was the end. But then the encore. Then there was the encore. So they closed out with Good Vibrations. Okay. So that's kind of Good Vibrations like right there.
The single there afterwards.
But dude, Sloop John B.
Nice.
Oh.
That was the encore?
No. That was like during Pet Sounds. Like It was just. I know that's like your favorite. I knew you would have. It was great. Everything was great. And they closed the Good Vibrations, and then they brought out the encore, and then the encore. And people were like leaving, and I'm like, what are you people doing? I remember the women next to me, they were like yelling, like, because we were like on the end of the row, and people are like, you freaking idiots! Like, he's gonna, because everybody, if you know Brian Wilson, he closes out every show with Love and Mercy.
He's kind of right.
And so I'm like, we're gonna get a whole nother set. And sure enough, they played like a 7-song encore, which is like another big, huge chunk of hits, and then some like again sprinkled with some random stuff. They did like and then he closed it out with Love and Mercy, and he adjusted the Love and Mercy lyrics a little bit to go with like the current like shootings and stuff, and it was really good. And he brought out during they played like Help Me Rhonda. And like during Help Me Rhonda, he brought out, I think it was Carney, like his daughter.
Wilson.
There's two. Nancy, the other one.
Maybe.
Well, anyway, I think
Rebel Wilson.
One or both of them were out there, and then like his grandkids, he brought in, and then like Al Jardine brought in some of his, like I think they were his grandkids. There was little kids up there.
That's awesome.
Like it was pretty cool because he lives. So I think like so that was cool, and it was a phenomenal show, and like it was just so cool. And then also just how easy it is riding like the bus instead of dealing with all that nightmare parking, and then like because it's free to park and then it's only $6 round trip
for the
bus.
But you would be paying $20 to pay up there and then sitting around.
And dealing with all that nightmare. And whereas the zoo is right by the 134, so it's just like.
Is that the day that Janelle was at the zoo too?
I don't know.
I don't either. It
was Sunday.
You know what I was doing? I was hiking 10 miles that day.
You're hiking a lot. So that was awesome.
That's sweet.
And I think we can. I'm tired. We gotta do Marmaduke. We gotta get out of here. It's 11:13.
Oh, but I have so many good movies.
It's past my bedtime.
But fast. What about a fast rundown of movies?
Well, real fast. Real quick though. Slow's like the best thing.
Slow.
Okay.
New Starflyer.
I want to hear like when you. So had you hadn't heard the actual song Slow until you heard the album, right?
The only one I'd heard before is that single.
I had predicted that you were gonna like really love the title track.
Oh yeah.
Because it's about like being a dad and being married, and he wants it to slow down. Fast. And I'm like, that's the dad.
Well, and it's very specific to like.
And then
his
like
stuff,
if you know his stuff,
yeah.
and like him and his wife on the road. Touring,
talking about naming their kid on the road,
and like buying the place in Riverside, and
selling the car, keeping the car. I don't know. It's such a good album.
It's an amazing album.
I've enjoyed. Don't get me wrong. I think the last two albums were great, but I think this is my favorite one since like Dial M.
I think so too. Although I then went back and listened to Changing in the Guard a bunch.
Yeah.
And because I hadn't listened to it because it's a really depressing album for those. So if you're not familiar with Starflyer, Jason Martin is the singer, and it's his second job. Like he's a trucker,
right?
Because his dad's a trucker, and his dad. So after his dad died in like it was like 2010, 2009,
something like that.
And then Changing the Guard came out, and that album it's all about.
Yeah, he like is dealing with that.
And holy crap! Like even listening out there, like I forgot about some of those songs. I was like, oh my gosh! Like,
well, even if you just listen to his voice, because Dial M was right before that.
Yeah.
His voice just
there's
like
just like
whole like it's heavy.
Like very heavy. Like that song Shane.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And
there's some gut punches.
And then like the Trucker's Son.
Yeah.
That song is like just the. So that song, so that album, so like, but then going back, and then I went even.
What about I Am
back.
CEO?
Yeah, it's a great. I hadn't listened to that in a while. Again, I went back, but I really like that. But Dial M for me was like one of the greatest albums.
That's one of the best.
I think Manny the Manta Ray rated Dial M as like the best album of the aughts.
Yeah.
Like, and right up there, I think with like Radiohead's Kid A. So that might tell you something.
Right.
Manny is a very good judge. And I just really love that album. How many times have you listened to it?
Constantly.
It's pretty much.
I mean, on the backpack, obviously not, but every time I've been in the car, just on repeat. It's great. It's so good.
So if you want to listen, it's on Spotify.
Yeah, Starflyer 59. We talk about them a lot. Like,
talked about.
I know there's a lot of bands that I'm into that like are of their time and people won't care, but Starflyer like everyone should like. Everyone should.
Jason Martin's a freaking genius.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's do a quick movie.
Super fast. Just because
we already talked about Secret Life of Pets.
Okay, because we did like a marathon. We watched some. We had the kids go in the theater, like play thing for some. Plus, we did a drive-in at night. 2 nights ago, I want to say. And so we saw Secret Life of Pets was paired with Independence Day.
That's random.
Which is totally random. And Independence Day
was not that good. Was it as dumb as everybody? People that were
stupid.
And I have plenty of friends that were like, okay, it's gonna be dumb, but it's gonna be fun. And everyone's like, no, like it was just dumb.
It was just, I don't know. And we enjoyed it, but it was not that good.
Okay.
Whatever. If you get a chance to see it on Netflix,
so I want to hear about some of these other ones.
We saw the BFG with the kids. That is awesome. It's so good. It's Steven Spielberg plus Disney plus Roald Dahl, and it's just amazing. Like, I feel it's been like about 2 years since I read it again.
It's funny because I talked to Benson, and Benson hated it.
What? it's like a straight telling, like it's
Maybe
right
people
out of the
just
book.
aren't familiar with the book.
It's just
and
it's
don't-
right because I mean I suppose if you're not, because the structure of the book is kind of odd.
Mhm.
Like she gets kidnapped. There's tons of discussion about the monster, about the other giants. Then they go to the queen, and she like winds up at the queen's house, and then they go and like bring the army to fight them and stuff. It's a really weird structure, but that's exactly how it was out of the book, right?
Mhm.
And it's perfect. It's beautiful looking. What did he not like about it?
Mhm.
I'm confused.
A lot of people didn't like it.
I don't understand. I think maybe people just don't know the book
Mm.
because it's a weird book.
I haven't seen it.
It's a really weird book. Plus, what's they call the farts in it? Whiz poppers.
Mhm.
That's what my kids call them now.
Hmm.
Like, oh, Dad, I did a whiz popper because there's an epic whiz popper scene in the book too, where they all like drink the frobscottle and stuff. Kid loved it. Then Janelle and I saw The Shallows.
How's that?
It was really good. Like it's
Yeah.
a really good tense
Derek
thriller.
said it was good. Is it like scary?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
Like would I freak out? I don't like.
it's not like
Is there like jump scares?
a little bit, but mostly.
What is it about? Like
So it's a shark movie.
Okay.
She goes surfing.
is it like deep water?
No, she's in the shallows.
Oh.
So it's very different. No, but she's out surfing late and she gets caught like on a little outcropping and a shark is like circling around. She has to survive and try to get back to shore, and
Okay.
it's really intense. And it's one of those ones like, I mean, you know, they had to shoot in water and stuff, and there were some effects, but it was like, you know, probably low budget because it's all in one setting with just a couple of actors, and but it's really, really good, just tense, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good little thriller. And then finally, last night, we saw The Legend of Tarzan.
Yeah, I've heard pretty good things about it.
Yeah, like, I thought it would be fun, but it was
Well,
like
that
really,
cast.
it was
I mean,
great.
I know you couldn't
Samuel
pass it up,
Jackson,
but
right there.
I mean, I'm sold because I mean, you got Alexander Skarsgård
Yeah.
as Tarzan, you got Christoph Waltz, who's like good in
He's
everything,
a great bad guy in this one.
and then you got freaking Samuel Jackson.
Samuel Jackson was amazing.
Okay, you
Dual-
being
dual
oh yeah,
wielding
you haven't been
pistol,
online
shotgun.
yet. The big video today, which for you will be double entertaining since you haven't watched Game of Thrones either.
Right.
It's Samuel Jackson summarizing the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones. It's amazing.
Well, it's
Don't-
gotta be if it's him.
But of course, don't watch it because it's of course Samuel Jackson
Well, yeah.
and
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson language. But
course.
I think you would get a big kick out of it,
Oh,
cause especially since you haven't watched the show, and because it's Samuel Jackson explaining the first 5
Explaining it.
seasons.
well, he was great in it. It was really good. I was surprised at how good I thought it was.
Well, especially since there's so many bad Tarzan
Yeah,
movies.
like it's easy to mess up, but they did a good job.
Did you ever watch that Christopher Lambert one, A Gray Stroke?
Yeah, like I think
It's-
that one was really weird.
The
if I
gorillas are
remember.
cool because like they had like really cool special effects, but like it's kind of a mess.
The one of the parts I liked about it a lot is that it very tactfully dealt with the origin story. It was
Mhm.
more about him later in
Yeah,
life.
because like
'Cause
he's
again,
like in England, right?
Right, and he goes back to the jungle.
Yeah.
So you see like snippets of his like origin stuff, but it's not like just a retelling of
Yeah.
all over again. It was a cool way to do it. So it was really good.
That's cool. I had one more thing I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
I have to talk about this because it's so amazing.
Okay.
Have you ever watched Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
Is it a movie?
It's a TV show.
Hmm.
It's incredible.
Okay.
And like Derek had been talking about it forever. A bunch of my other friends. So it's on Netflix now, and I started watching it. It's incredible. I watched like the first 4 episodes.
Comedy?
It's
Okay.
hilarious. So it's this comedian, Rachel Bloom, and she like created this show. And I guess she was doing this as a web series
Okay.
before. And she does like these crazy like musical numbers, and it's so funny.
Huh.
It's so funny. It's got the boyfriend, the Korean boyfriend in Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah.
He's one of the main guys. He's like her. So basically, like, the story is like there's this guy that was her boyfriend like at summer camp when she was in high school,
Okay.
and then like it flashes forward to like years later, and she's living in New York City. She's about to become a partner at a law firm, and then she kind of like starts freaking out about that. So then she runs into him on the street, and he's like, "Man, I really wish," because he like dumps her right like the last day of camp and like
Right.
breaks her heart. But then he's like, now he's that dude, and he's like, "Man, I really wish I could have like we could have hung out. Like I'm here. He's like, I can't believe you're here in New York. He's like, yeah, but I'm moving. It takes place in West Covina.
Really?
West Covina. He's like, yeah, I'm moving. I'm going back home to West Covina. And she's like, so then she ends up moving to West Covina and like taking a job at like a crappy law firm there. And all the people at the law firm are like, what are you doing here? You graduated from Harvard. Like you could have made like $500,000 a year. Like. So, but like, and her friend, it's so funny, and it's like just so, it's very like, I don't know, it's very like, I don't know, it's really funny. I really like it. I've been really getting a kick out of it. The other thing I just realized is that new show comes out tomorrow.
Oh, that like looks like the 80s. What's it called?
Stranger Things. It looks amazing, and the reviews, the reviews are really good. Yeah, I'm a little freaked out. I don't know.
It looks like very Steven Spielberg.
It looks like too. I've heard it's like very, but it's also like very like 80s horror.
Yeah, it looks
awesome. Like it's like a mix that like there's certain parts where you're like this I'm watching like it's like I've heard like you're watching those movies.
Oh.
But like I'm so excited. It looks really freaky too. Like it looks really freaky. Did you ever watch any Hemlock Grove?
Mm-mm.
Like parts of it were okay, parts of it were kind of dumb. But speaking of that, the bad guy from I think his name's Bill Skarsgård. I don't know if he's part of that family. He kind of looks like he might be. Have you seen? Oh, that's the other thing that popped up on the internet yesterday. First picture of him as Pennywise the Clown.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Dude. I think they're doing because already there's if you're into all that. There's a website called Elijah's Library, and he's been getting fed some on-set photos, and already it seems like they are more true to the book than the original miniseries. Because one of the iconic monuments in Derry, Maine, is a Paul Bunyan statue that never even was in the miniseries, and already there's a picture of the Paul Bunyan statue. There's some other stuff that just seems very much more authentic. And also, this movie, the movie is only them as kids. And if it does well enough, they'll do the grown-up part.
That's a good way
to
do it.
I think that's good because it'll be able to. Because one, that's the best part of the book, and I mean all parts good, but just in such a different way. Whereas the kid, it's like a combination, like super like. Captures this childhood, but then also it's like really freaking horrific and scary, and that's kind of Stephen King's sweet spot. And it also sounds like he's been pretty involved, and just very exciting.
Sweet.
And they've also been dropping Dark Towers on the cover of Entertainment Weekly this week.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Little snippets of that stuff.
It sounds like what they're doing is. If I were to tell you how it's a sequel, it would spoil the book.
Okay.
But it's kind of instead of just it's not the first. It's not going to be straight up the books. It's basically a sequel to the books in a movie form.
In a movie.
I am beyond excited about this. Yeah, because like. I feel like this is the smartest decision for them to make as to how to do this, because otherwise people are going to freak out that you're not fake. Because like this way, it can be different,
right?
And it can go in different places. And I think the casting, Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey, is amazing. I'm really excited. You watched Little Monsters on Netflix?
I did.
What made you? We're talking about pee.
Just random.
I know we were talking about drinking pee.
Well, I was doing some work. This was like yesterday or 2 days
ago. That movie is nuts, right?
It is crazy. I haven't watched it in years, and it is like super crazy.
It is bonkers.
I can't believe I saw it in the theater as a kid.
And how and like Hyde Mandel is like filthy.
Oh, it's really dirty.
Like it's super.
And it came out in what, 89? Like well into the PG-13 era. I don't know how it didn't get PG-13.
Well, also didn't it like bomb horrifically?
I think it did very bad. But I remember.
But I saw it in the theater.
I saw it in the theater too because I got. I was a huge Fred Savage fan.
Wait, I'm gonna guess because I think this is the same novelization.
I got the novelization beforehand, and I read that.
And I was like, 5 times. Yeah. It was a great novel, and like the pictures were so weird.
The guys with
the packs and the light packs.
I'm like, I have to see this
movie.
Okay,
that villain is just like straight up terrifying.
It's messed up because his face, and then like it
little,
slowly pans around, and you see his brain is just like exposed.
Yeah. And then that,
and then,
like
it peels. His
oh
skin
my
off.
gosh, yeah.
It's a really messed up movie. They cuss all the time.
There's
torturing.
like
he rips a kid's head off.
Yeah.
He literally rips a kid's head off. What's his name? Rick Ducommun.
Yeah.
Is like one of the big henchman guys,
Yeah.
and he like just murders people, and it is
like,
really weird.
It's so weird. It is such a weird movie.
And then like I was watching it, and like the soundtrack
is nuts.
Like because there's parts where like it's like this beautiful, like you would expect to see like a sunrise or something, and there's like this beautiful score, and it's him like watching him like drink piss out of a bottle. Like literally, he's like, "Who put piss in my orange juice or apple juice?" And it's like, it's like, I'm like, what's happening right now? Why is that? I don't understand.
And then it's just like, I don't know. It's just very frank, like parents, like it's like
parents are getting divorced. Yeah, you got that on top.
Runs
of it
over
all.
his. I remember being upset when he ran over his bike.
His little brother gets kidnapped.
And like it's gonna be turned into a monster.
It's just there's so it's
it is cuckoo
movie.
Bananas.
But it was good.
But as like goofy things that you watch as your kid, it holds up. It holds up pretty well.
The underworld is like so weird.
I want to. Yeah,
it's like
that like baseball game that they play and all
break
this
stuff.
Breaking
and it's all
stuff.
just made up of like stacked like wood and
and then there's like the
stuff.
There's like the arcade and all that weird stuff.
Yeah, it's like pinball machines, but there's no tilt in the underworld.
Yeah,
like weird, which is also interesting because Pinball Wizard, the Wizard. I don't know. Anyway, it was fun just randomly watching it there.
That was kind of the end of the line for Fred Savage.
Yeah, I was looking at it. Like it's one of the last. He did a TV show called Working shortly after.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I actually watched a little bit of that on like YouTube just to see what that was about.
I remember when that was on because that wasn't that around the time he had the cameo in Austin Powers too?
Yeah, it was a little before that. It like happened like it was like 2 seasons of that. I think it happened like at the tail end of it.
Yeah, but that was kind of his last because then he became like director.
Yeah. And he had like little
just little things here and there, mostly in stuff that he was working on.
But now
then Grinder got canceled.
The Grinder.
I ended up watching a bunch of the Grinder because it was on.
It's so good, right?
It's so good.
It's so good.
Well, I mean, I already watched a bunch.
It's so good.
And then I watched a ton. I finished It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what's on Netflix? The show's crazy. So funny.
Have you watched? Okay, so we read boxed. Have you seen Krampus?
No, but I want to. Was it as good as everybody says it is?
It's so good. You will love it.
Yeah,
it's such
Adam
a
Scott
80s movie
and like all the great cast.
It's like the Goonies. Not the Goonies. Gremlins and like all those.
Did you ever watch like the Rare Exports or like Troll Hunter?
No,
because that's what it kind of reminded me of.
It seems like that. It's great. You would love it. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's like weirdly funny for like a scary movie, and it's just perfect. It's a great little like horror comedy.
Well, now I want to know what these other things are. What's Alone?
Alone is the one we watched on our backpack. That was our TV thing.
Yeah.
It's a reality show that's on History Channel, I think. But the reason he picked it is they dropped 10 strangers off in the wilderness in like the northern part of Vancouver Island in Canada, and they have to survive. And whoever survived the longest, like whoever doesn't, like they have to just live. They get to bring some stuff, and there's bears, and there's cougars, and there's wolves,
Holy crap.
and they just drop them off. They get to bring a few like survival things, and then go. And then you just watch them like try to survive. They build shelters, and have to make fire and all this stuff.
So it's like a real Survivor.
It's real. Like they don't have a camera crew with them. They just send them with like GoPros and stuff. It's really cool. So we watched that, and then finally, with our Redbox, we also got this movie called No Men Beyond This Point. And it's weird. It's like a pseudo-documentary, and the premise is that it's like an alternate history thing in the 60s that all these like women had all these spontaneous pregnancies where they didn't need men to reproduce anymore, and all the pregnancies resulted in, because they were just using their eggs, they were all female babies. So men have slowly died off. So it's like in the present time, but the youngest man is like 37, and like he was like an anomaly.
It's like Y the Last Man.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's a documentary, And I don't know, it was funny though. It was like really, really funny, but also like just interesting. I don't know. It was worth watching. I would say it was fun little find there.
Sounds cool. All right.
They move all the men onto like reservations, like they have like man reservations. In one scene, like a guy wanders off the reservation, comes into a neighborhood, and he's just trying to like talk to, hey, you're pretty. What's your name? And they're like throwing rocks at him. Like, go back, go back. And they get him up in a tree. Then the fire department has to come and bring him back to it. So, that's funny. Anyway,
That sounds nuts.
that's good.
They were just speaking of like things like that. They were talking about Hell Comes to Frogtown on how to get made recently. It made me want to watch it again.
It's a good one.
It's so nuts. It just doesn't make any freaking sense at all. They made a big deal about like the frog lady and like all of this. It's so weird. You would really like that podcast because all they do is talk about
bad movies,
stupid movies. Like, and it's made me watch stuff like again. Like I watched Bloodsport like last week just because they did one, and I was like, Bloodsport is awesome because it's so stupid. And like, what's the big nerd? Not the big like Alpha Beta. In Revenge of the Nerds, Ogre. And so Ogre's his like sidekick in Bloodsport. I forgot how ridiculous it is. We were talking because we had that thread on the Radio BrendoMan, so everyone should check out the Radio BrendoMan Facebook group.
That's right.
Because somebody had posted that picture from like Karate Kid, and they were talking about like it is kind of crazy that like he won that tournament, and that couldn't have been legal.
No.
And then I was like, that's because I'm like, that's why Bloodsport is awesome because they wrote that into it where they're like, this is the Kumite. You can do anything. So you want to do a split punch to the balls? Do it. You want to kill a dude with a throat punch? Do it. You want to just throw a guy? Like you could do anything. Yeah. Whereas with that one, like I'm pretty sure if you went to a national karate tournament and kicked a guy right in the balls, like
in like the crane kick at the end, they made a huge deal about they couldn't headshots.
Yeah.
But he kicks him in the head at the end.
Yeah, he kicks him right in the head.
Like I think it wouldn't count.
That's the thing. Like,
not to mention that he telegraphs it from like 10 miles away.
And it's like,
I'm gonna kick you now.
Yeah, like, but it was because like I think it was Nate that was like, man, I was so disappointed when I got old enough to realize like, hey.
Yeah, but like, I practiced that crane kick.
Well, we all
hours,
did. We all did that thing.
I mean, come on.
But
Luke's practiced that ever since we showed it to him.
So then I watched Karate Kid, and then I'm not gonna lie, I watched that Peter Cetera like Karate Kid 2 video like 8 million times because it's the ultimate 80s movie music tie-in music video because you got Peter Cetera singing in front of a video wall with clips of the movie, and plus that's like, for me, that's the ultimate 80s ballad song. I mean, like, come on. Yeah. I am a man who will fight for your wrong. I mean, freaking love that song. And I don't care that it's like the stupidest song.
Doesn't matter. It was in the Karate Kid Part 2.
Which, Karate Kid Part 2, I remember as a kid, I thought it was kind of slow.
Because
there's certain parts like for like is it like there's a lot of like I don't know like like brooding like I don't know.
But they had the whole like.
Oh, dude! Well, that whole trailer. Well, just the trailer I remember just was like so like epic, and it was one of those ones where it started like right where it left off.
Like literally like the second.
Like that was amazing, and then. But I love how like Elizabeth just like dumped him, and then like they go to Japan, and then he meets that girl, and then we never see that girl again. But then like the whole thing where it's like Miyagi and his rival, and then like Daniel-san like
big
fight
old board that he kept like working on.
Yeah,
that was the greatest. And then when the rainstorm comes, and Mr. Miyagi has to break it, and then he realizes like all along, and then the greatest like. The final punch when Daniel's fighting the guy and he's like, ugh, and then he conks his nose. I mean, come on. Like that's just one of the greatest moments in the 80s.
Yeah. Hey, Brendo, didn't Sato remind you of an old school Japanese heel? Yes, exactly.
Yep. Well, you know what time it is?
What?
It's time. You are tired. You forgot what time it is.
So tired.
It's time.
It's time. It's time. It's Marmaduke time. You haven't been around for a while.
Well, I missed one.
Oh, you missed
and I
one.
went back and looked at it.
And it's dumb.
It was pretty stupid, the sledding
I mean,
one.
let's see what we get today.
All right. Well, it's good. It's with the dads. That's always good. All right, Phil's reading a newspaper, and the mom's talking to him with Marmaduke in the background. Marmaduke, mom's talking. Marmaduke is trying to dig up bones from that frozen ground. Poor dear. Marmaduke's struggling in the background. Phil looks out. He's happy. He's out of luck this time. He's kind of like laughing at him at his struggles. And then she says, he's looking this way. Marmaduke looks inside. Phil goes back to reading the newspaper. I absolutely refuse to get involved. Then you hear a thump bang. Phil, he's at the back door. No, yells Phil. Then Marmaduke comes in looking upset. Clomp, clomp. Absolutely not, yells Phil. Then Marmaduke gets up on him. He's all sad, and he goes, like moaning on him.
Yeah.
And
He looks like he's like kissing, looks like he's trying to make out with him.
And then finally we're outside, and Marmaduke's all happy, and Phil is using a pickaxe to dig into the frozen ground, and he says, why can't you wait for the spring thaw?
So Marmaduke's trying to dig in the snow, and he can't.
Yeah.
And then Phil...
And then he whines at him, and so he uses a pickaxe to help him. This falls under the not a joke category for one.
First off, like, where are they living where, like, it's, like, that hard of ice?
They're living like Alaska.
Are they, like, living in the frozen tundra?
Here.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, unless we're, like, talking about, like, they're living on the actual, like, frozen, like...
Yeah, like a dog couldn't dig into it. Plus,
or you don't need a pickaxe.
Yeah, like a shovel, maybe? I don't know. But also... I mean, like, you got a little bit of
I think this is Marmaduke loves the fact that he's getting... Marmaduke is messing with Phil.
Well, yeah, because he knows the mom is going to, like, let him get his
He's
way.
like, this is how I'm going to get Phil to do, like, manual labor.
Yeah, and he looks all happy when he's miserable. Although that Phil looks real happy that Marmaduke's miserable when he's
So
digging.
Phil's also kind of torturing Marmaduke.
Yeah, he hates
this
him.
further the Phil-Marmaduke relationship.
Yeah, because imagine, like, it's your dad. Like, your dad needs help out there. I'm not going to help him.
Then he's, like, manipulating Phil, like, in this weird, like, I'm going to make out. It looks like he's trying to make out with Phil.
But he's
like,
also
that's
all,
what it looks like.
He's all sad, like, I'm your father.
Help me, son.
Help me.
Son, I love you. Please get my bone.
Get my bones out of the ground.
What if...
What if it is? What if he's digging up his skeleton?
That way he can be reunited with his body and he can reanimate. It's like Chucky. Like Chucky needs like this. Like he needs a vessel.
His body back. Man, I think that's what we're looking at here. Definitely.
What if there's like some like hidden Marmaduke book where it's exactly what we're talking about?
Yeah, the first one, Marmaduke possesses a dog.
Like, that's the unreleased Marmaduke.
I'm sure that he wrote this and just assumed we'll get that from how this goes.
Hey, man, we can't be the first people that thought like this.
No, well, maybe we are. I don't know.
But we're so deep into it now.
I know. We're way too deep. This one is good. This gave us a little more peek back into that world. Better than the sledding one from before. That one was
sledding one is pretty dumb.
That was just fluff. And again, once again, there is no punchline. It's not really a joke.
No, it's just dogs. Big dog.
Dog likes to dig. No,
dog wants his bone. Funny. Ha.
That's Marmaduke. All right.
How did a 1 hour show that was supposed to start at 8? It's now 11:41.
That's how we roll. I don't know.
I'm tired. I gotta work tomorrow. We gotta go see Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So excited.
We got our tickets. We got the reservation for the kids. This is part of the hesitation. Is the kids have already gone to that thing 2 times in the last couple of days. So we're talking to them about it. But they're like, yeah, it's fun. We like it. So it's good. So when I called up to make reservations, they're like, yeah, what's the kid, how many kids? And I was like, 2. And she's like, oh, you guys were just here yesterday, weren't you? And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of good movies out right now.
You're still on vacation.
The kids like it. It's not like they're miserable, but...
Well, this has been a supersized episode for us. I mean, not really, but lately.
For lately.
And next week, we'll probably spend most of the time... It'll be our gigantic-sized Comic-Con preview for Tuesday and Thursday, because we'll we'll record Monday, and then we'll have the episodes Tuesday, and they'll come out one will come out on Thursday.
Well, we're
at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
It's almost here.
It's almost here. All those tags. I think Comic-Con is gonna be crazy because of Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah.
You think it's just gonna be a ton of people?
Have you seen? There's already been articles about people like
all
two
kinds
kids
of stuff.
walked off a cliff in Encinitas.
Well, there was the first thing that happened was some like muggers used they used a lure to lure Pokemon to like a remote area, and then they like robbed people.
Oh my gosh.
People have crashed their cars. People have gotten hit by cars. There have been fatalities.
Yeah.
But
it's
don't
an app.
blame. People are trying to. I'm like, if it wasn't
Whatever,
I'm sorry. This is people not paying attention to like what they're doing.
People also got in accidents by following Google Maps the wrong way. Like you can't blame a map.
Just pay attention. I haven't really played it much because it drains my battery like nobody's business. I'm working on ways to optimize that, but my solution now is I ordered 2 of those phone brick things, so I'll have 2 charges. I'm gonna start playing, but I don't know about at Comic-Con. I'm focused on tags.
Yeah,
I'm all about those tags. I gotta finish. I guess now I got new puzzles, got new stuff. Still trying to catch fish.
Fish is all I have left. I've finished everything else.
I have a lot of stuff.
Well, that and birthdays and stuff, Yeah,
birthdays.
Countries.
Hopefully we can get a lot of birthdays and countries. How many do you have left?
I have like 325 birthdays.
Holy cow!
Yeah. So I mean, that's how many I've collected. So I still have like 40.
I'm just saying that's really good.
Yeah.
Because I'm nowhere near there. Because I forgot to bring my DS to Disneyland.
Oh, it's painful.
I missed out. That's okay. Comic-Con will make up for it.
Yeah.
In a huge, gigantic ways.
Yeah.
Very excited for that. But I'm just wondering, like, what it's gonna be like people wandering around. Like, I'm just like how clogged and congested it's gonna get.
Everyone's just gonna
like
be
Pokemon
looking at their phones.
and people like fighting over Pokemon or like helping each. I don't know. I think it'll be. I think it's gonna be nuts. Like, Chris Hardwick posted a picture. It was from like one of the last big battles in Game of Thrones. He's like, "This is what Comic-Con's gonna look like with Pokemon Go." Just like a giant, just masses of people crashing against each other. Because already that's kind of what Comic-Con is. Because I just remember. I remember one time because I remember the year that me, you, Benson, once Animal Crossing came out. So I remember there was a year where it was me, you, Benson, Lindy, I think Ish was with us, and at one point Derek's like, "I'm not walking with you guys anymore," because we're all just like, like bumping into things and like.
See, it's easy for me because you're taller than me, so I just go behind you.
But that was when I didn't have one and you did. But now when we all have them, it just gets real bad. Like,
love it. It was just satisfying because I was like on the earlier end of the tags, and everyone was like, "Boo, tags!" I'm like, "You guys don't need to know."
As soon as Animal Crossing, then we were all in it. But like, because I remember once Animal Crossing came out, then we all had it.
Yeah.
And now I feel like now it's just like you and me.
Like, and they need to put out another one of some more games for the Street Pass. I don't know if they're going to, but
I still have to do some of the puzzles. But you've been to Disneyland.
All the puzzles.
Enough.
I have all the. I've beaten everything except the fishing one. Well, I've beaten it, but I just there's more fish to catch.
I need to clear out my tags in like Pokemon because then I can get a whole other set of Pokemon tags.
Oh.
I have like whatever the max. I think it's like you can have isn't like 100 or
something like that.
It's like a lot, and I've hit the max a while ago, and I've never gone in. But that's a lot of Poke points or whatever the frick. Like, because you can actually use those points to like play this game on the web and then like get prizes. I don't know, it's weird. And there's all kinds of stuff. If Derek can't make Comic-Con bump springs, I can stand in for him. Oh, you like insert the I didn't think it was that great. That is a good Derek stand-in.
Pretty good there.
Well, I don't know. Derek's. I hope he liked Ghostbusters. I guess we'll find out.
I hope so.
I feel like everybody that I've seen, and all the people that I like, Ross loved it. Dinosaur Dracula loved it. Cheryl, the movies made me loved it. Like everybody I know that's seen it loves it.
I don't see why
not. I'm just, I don't know, I was really, really happy. We can't believe it. New Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Do you see Derek had like his Ecto Cooler and the Twinkie? Get that pregame going.
Yep.
I had the Ghostbusters pizza from Papa
I
John's.
saw that in your kitchen there.
You were like, "Who's that Ghostbuster?"
Yeah, there's like a Ghostbuster I didn't recognize. You're like, that's Papa John.
John.
I didn't know he was one of them.
Yeah, he's a Ghostbuster.
What if he's in the movie? What if there's like a
pizza?
Hey guys,
I busted some pizza for you. Pizza Ghost.
What? He wants a pizza? It's a ghost pizza. It's pepperoni with pepperoni.
Well, it had like, so it was regular pepperoni and then like the big deli style pepperoni.
I still don't understand how that's ghosty.
I think it's just New York.
Just New York. All right.
I don't know.
I expect more from my pizza tie-in.
What would a ghost pizza? Green slime?
Green.
That's gross, though. Would you eat? Yeah, but
I don't know.
Green, like, would it? That's green slime sauce.
Yeah, why not? Pesto.
That's like those. You've seen the black like Whoppers and stuff. Would you eat that?
I mean, I would.
Would you close your eyes?
Maybe.
I feel like your brain would like tell you.
You remember that?
Because black equals death. Black equals rotten.
Good, right? Like, so how do you know when that's gone bad? Was it turned brown?
That's gross.
Remember those ketchups they had that were like green and purple?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I know it with your eyes closed, it tastes the same, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't get past it.
Do you remember salsa ketchup?
Yeah.
That stuff was the bomb.
Dude, did I tell you what I got on our trip?
What?
On our camping trip, they had it. I don't know. I haven't seen it anywhere else, but we went in this like little market up north, and it was like a small, and they had like this local section. They had sun-dried tomato ketchup.
What?
Ketchup made out of sun-dried tomatoes.
Sounds amazing.
It's incredible.
Did it?
I still have like a little bit left. I use it like sparingly.
I can see you just pouring it right.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Anyway,
carry that around your backpack.
Oh, it's so good. No, I'm saving that for special occasions, like a really good burger or something.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm tired.
Yep.
Gotta go to bed. Gotta go to work. Gotta watch Ghostbusters. It's Kat's from Lizzie and Kat. It's her birthday. It's her birthday tomorrow, so I'm going to that.
Oh, cool.
After
Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Nice.
And speaking of Lizzie and Kat, I want to give another shout to, they are doing a charity table. It's like a live read of the Donna Martin Graduates episode. They haven't announced the full cast yet, but already announced is Jensen Karp, Sarah Benincasa, Mrs. Teasley herself.
Nice.
Diane Dawes, and some other people.
Huh.
And I'm just very excited for that. It's on Thursday, August 4th. If I'm going on a school night, but I'm not gonna miss this chance, this opportunity. And also, it's for charity. And you can go to DonnaMartinGraduates.com. Tickets are only $18. It's in Beverly Hills. I forgot the name of the venue, but it just sounds awesome.
That's cool.
And everybody should buy those tickets. And don't forget ComicConPalmSprings.com. And if you're going to be at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, Thursday, 8:30 p.m., room 4, Web Comics Advocates.
Right. Is that the same room we were in last year?
I feel like it is.
Is that like our room now? Do we have a room?
I think we have a room, man.
Do we have a room?
I think we have a room.
That's awesome.
Because I think that's how they work, because it's going to be exactly WWE panel, then go to the signing, and then the Mad panel is that, and then our panel, and then there's like a dinner time, and then our panel.
That's pretty cool.
And there's lots of other stuff. But if you go to BrendoMan.com, I made Phil's
my app for me.
Phil's Comic-Con app, so you can check out my picks of the schedule, and we'll be talking about that next week. So tune into that. Be sure to go to RadioBrendo.com for all your Radio BrendoMan stuff.
Yeah.
Also, listen to MBWS this week. It's Matt Benson is back.
Nice.
You could also hear Benson if you hadn't listened to Tuesday's episode yet. His first appearance on Radio BrendoMan.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I was like, "Whoa, okay, yeah." We should have. I can't believe we haven't had him on before.
I guess he was just on Pillage Cast a lot.
He's on Pillage Cast a lot. He's on Popsicles a ton. Yeah. He's been on Megacast and all the other stuff. But yeah, and I'm gonna be on Nerd's Eye View next week talking about Ghostbusters.
Sweet.
So
There
check
you go.
out that. And I feel like now people, if you haven't, now everybody knows the Ben and the View because they both have been on
now.
in your stead.
That's right. Thanks, guys, for filling in.
So that's been awesome. Oh, Lindy just left the group chat, but yeah. So be sure to go to BenviewNetwork.com for all those shows. And yeah, so keep on tuning in.
Do it. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yes.
It's good to be back.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing stuff at Comic-Con. We'll record some things. I got to get AAA batteries
For the thingy.
for that guy, and then we'll do it. Because I think I got the settings figured out.
Okay, that's good.
So we can record little bits here and there.
Maybe get a plug.
Well, this year, if we have to get a plug from Jay. I feel like at the very least we get a Jay plug. But then maybe some other plugs.
Yeah.
Maybe some other plugs. Maybe some other special.
Who knows?
Special guests might join us. Definitely some Benview crew chat.
Yeah.
And various other. Will probably be our first dispatch. Will probably be Phil found the Nintendo booth. You guys, here we are at the Nintendo booth.
Yep.
Phil, what are you playing?
Whatever it is. I'm already planning on being there.
Trying finding out how to get that T-shirt.
Yeah, well, you
how to get that swag.
I want to know. I can't not get it.
What is this? Will be like your several years running.
Oh yeah, got a lot of good stuff out of there.
I still have my first Rocket Slime T-shirt somewhere.
Yeah, from way back. You're wearing one right now.
I'm wearing my one from this was last year's.
The Mario Maker.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Super Mario. This is these were they finally
made big person
big
size
ones.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to. We'll talk about that next week. I gotta go to bed. So let's do that. So for Radio BrendoMan, I'm Brendan Creecy.
And I'm Phil Vecchio.
Have a good one, everybody.
Yes.
I think tomorrow, watch Ghostbusters, come home, upload the episode, and then go.
Sweet. Very cool. Well, Janelle,
47.
I'll be home in a little bit. We're only recording for an hour. She's like, you're not going to be back in an hour. That's not going to happen. I'm like, well, it might. She's like, no, it's not. It's not going to happen.
Oh, 247. God, get with it, Brendo.
We're almost at 250.
Almost there.
Wow.
Since you've been gone.
Since I've been gone, we got to
recorded
250.
a bunch of episodes. So that means next week, 248, 249. So the week after next, 250. Yeah. Are you going away again, though?
Yeah. But there's a little window in between, though.
But what is that schedule going to be like?
Let's see.
Hold on, let me get the calendar out.
Okay, well, that's easier. All right. So we record there. See, I can record. I don't know. Well, I don't know. You're back on Monday?
Monday. I'll be back Monday by 8. I'll be back by 8.
So I think probably I can still record on Monday.
When are you leaving?
Because I think we leave Tuesday or Wednesday. Maybe it's Wednesday even. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure I can do it in between.
And then when do you get back?
And then we're back on the 31st.
All right, so you won't miss anything.
So yeah, so it's all. I don't think it'll affect.
Because I'll be back in the afternoon on Monday.
Because I think Janelle starts.
When does Janelle start school?
No, maybe not. Maybe. No, I might miss one there.
When does Janelle start school? Doesn't Janelle start school on the 2nd?
How long are we gone? This is when we're going to Texas. I think we leave Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we might not come back until the next weekend. Maybe we don't come back till here.
Gone that long?
I got to look on the calendar with Janelle and see.
All right. Well, if I need to get a guest,
I might miss that week.
Well, let me know.
Okay, I'll find out. I got to look at the calendar with her and see. I think I might. But I'll be here for that. We can do that for sure.
Because if Janelle's around and she doesn't have school, she should come to this. That live read.
I can't remember if we. I think it's got to be. I think we're going to be on there. Oh, Scott Ackerman's birthday.
I don't think that's the right.
Oh, that's not Ackerman. That's Ackerman.
Scott Ackerman is. I did find there's some random panels that he's like moderating.
Really?
So I figure I'm like, if there's nothing else, it's better
to
go to like just a panel he's moderating, even though it's not something that I'm super into.
Have you watched all the Comedy Bang Bang?
No, I'm still not to Kid Cudi yet.
Oh, so good. He's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard losing Reggie, but oh my gosh.
Have you watched season 3 of Marin yet?
No, I think we watched like one episode.
He just this weekend today, I think Friday, so tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're airing the last 2 episodes, and then he said like he decided that he wanted to end it on his terms, so he's done.
So season 3 is it?
4.
Oh, 4.
4 is on right now.
4. Okay.
3 is on Netflix, and he said he's going out on his own terms. So today on the show, he was really upset at some TV writers that are like, Marin got canceled. He's like, no, I'm the opposite of canceled. I did a Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you guys don't know the difference between canceled and I ended the show, then you shouldn't be a journalist. You're more. So he kind of went. It was Marin being very angry, and so that's pretty funny.
That's funny.
Dude, he's had some epic episodes. He had Paul Dano this week. The week before, he had in one episode he had Joe Dante and John Carpenter.
Wow.
It was amazing. And then he had freaking Neil Young, which was really cool. And then he had some pretty epic ones. He's had some really, I don't know. He just never stops. It'll be awesome. And
dude, Joe Dante, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool hearing them talk about stuff. And like it made me want to watch Matinee again.
Oh, I love that movie.
It's crazy that Joe Dante now, it just seems like a crime that now for him to keep working, he directs like random TV shows. Like,
yeah, that's Joe Dante.
Random TV shows.
Because of Matinee?
Not because he still makes movies. They're just now he does like independent, like he's making them on his own.
What made him? What was his fall from like?
I don't know. I mean, there's been a few things, but
why is Matinee so hard to get? Is it still?
It's on DVD. It's been on Netflix. I think it's easy to get now. For a while, it was like,
find it.
Well, like I'd be like, Matinee. If you're like, what? I'm like the freaking Joe Dante movie. It's like the Joe Dante movie.
John Goodman.
Like he does like random TV now, and I'm like, he's like one of our greatest treasures. I think. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. He's still making movies. They're very indie, low budget. I don't know if you've watched any of them on Netflix, like The Hole. Like they're still great. They're still great Joe Dante movies. He's still making movies at least, but he has to like work really hard to get them done. And I'm just looking at this Comic Con. So this is like perfect. Oh crap!
What?
I'm not gonna be able to. So Sunday night at Comic Con is the next WWE pay-per-view. So I'm not gonna be able to watch it till later that night. I'll watch it in my hotel room.
You'll live. Don't forget to turn us off of YouTube.
Yeah. All right. Later, Steve.
Thanks for hanging out.